contract a legal requirement. Every single time we appear on camera, we're just going to make sure we see both biceps on there. We go, and we have a very special guest. It is none other than boxer herself. It is Isabella Rositano. Welcome to the show. I know you're very excited about this. We're going to be commentating for the Jake Paul-Mike Tyson match. So welcome.
I'm incredibly excited. Thank you so much. And it's great to be here. And I'm very grateful for the fact that right now we are one of, or two of the very lucky people who have been able to access the Netflix live link to be watching Tyson v. Paul, the event, which I must say so far has been the biggest and best boxing bonanza I've ever seen in my entire life. And I would say it seems to be something like a boxing Super Bowl. I am incredibly excited, and I feel privileged to be. I've got the footage right here. I actually had it also up on my phone, and I'm incredibly excited. How are you feeling, Matt?
Don't think I'm as excited as you are. You're like hopping from one foot to the other. You're so like pumped and ready to go for this event.
I am incredibly pumped. Yeah, absolutely.
So we are going to be watching the event. It's taking place on Netflix. So if you have Netflix, you can just load it there, which is a fantastic deal that they've got. They've got it there for. You have to be a Netflix subscriber, but you don't have to pay anything extra to be able to see it. And so if you're on there, we won't be able to play their footage because of copyright issues, but we will be commentating. So if you want to watch along at the same time, we're going to be watching the event. And yeah, so it's the co-main event is just about to start at the moment with Katie Taylor. She's taking on Amanda Serrano. 23-1 for Katie Taylor out of Ireland, and Amanda Serrano, she's 47-2. So this is quite a battle of very experienced girls going at it. Do you know these girls? Are you a fan of either of them?
Sure do. I'm a big fan of Katie Taylor, who actually holds a Guinness World Record due to her achievements in boxing. But world record aside, Katie Taylor is of legendary status for women's boxing worldwide, and someone I really look up to because she has a similar height and reach to myself. What has surprised me, however, despite being a Katie Taylor fan, I must admit I did not know her age. And I've just seen on the screen here, she is 2 years older than her competitor, Amanda Serrano, who is coming in at 36 years old. I'm not sure in those 2 years whether Katie Taylor has gained or lost in her physical and boxing abilities, but I do feel approaching 40. You know, we've got Mike Tyson later on approaching 60. So it'll be really interesting to see how these older athletes are approaching the age. And different, sometimes age brings you experience, sometimes it brings you injuries. What will we see tonight?
Yeah, we'll be finding out. This will be the fight that's happening just prior to the Jake Paul and Mike Tyson bout. But yeah, there's a lot of questions going in, and one of the big questions is how will Mike Tyson's stamina hold out? And that's where I've got my money on. I think that I've picked Jake Paul to be the victor in this matchup. Based on that, I think that Mike Tyson, it's the best chance of winning the fight. It's going to be in that first round with a big knockout. But I don't see it happening. I think that, hey, Neil's index finger, it's Brian Parliament out of Canada. He says, hey guys, hey, hello to you. And we've got Mark Ryder. The Drew is in here as well. Always great to see you guys in here. So hello to everybody that's in the chat. We are watching the fight that will be coming up straight after this one that's on at the moment. Isabella Rositano is with us. She is also a boxer. She's very excited. And but yes, analyzing the fight for me, I'm looking at somebody who's 58 years old, who has been out of the game for a very long time, was in a wheelchair not that long ago. He had a bit of a comeback match up against Roy Jones Jr. Didn't look that impressive to me in that match. Gassed out pretty hard in that. And Roy Jones was also like quite senior in that as well. And I was my thoughts on this is just if Roy Jones was able to dance around and gas out Mike Tyson, I can see Jake Paul at 20 to 30 years younger being quite capable of doing the same thing.
I would agree with that, sadly, even though I don't want to. For myself, Jake Paul did many years ago make a joke about suicide, which to me was just really crossing the line. I do believe with social media, we will not always see the full story. For example, I always focus myself on inspiring and posting positive comments and, positivity, because that's what I would love to be if I were to leave anything out in the world. So we don't know the full story with Jake Paul. We don't know the full story with these YouTubers. But when I watched Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr., what I saw, exactly what you saw, it wasn't an impressive fight. It was an exhibition. This is touted to be a proper fight. 2-minute rounds. I believe it's 8 rounds, which will obviously go in Tyson's favour with his age. I think he's definitely prepared a lot better than we saw in the Roy Jones Jr. fight, 100%, or exhibition, I should say, because that's exactly what it was. I wouldn't really want to see that today. I am incredibly excited because I do believe we're going to catch a glimmer of the original Tyson when I see how he has prepared. And I'm most excited. I do think we could even potentially see him bite off another ear. But before we get to that, I think if it goes past, say 1 or 2 rounds, we're going to see him do that and resort to the ear biting technique. But quick question for you, Matt. Have you shared the live link? I want to quickly jump on this live link and post it on my Instagram. I'm not sure how to do that, but I definitely want to share this moment.
Sure.
I'm really excited about it, and we can get back to the predictions in a second. We are just seeing, for the people while Matt's on to doing that, for the people watching, really excited to read what you've said there. We're now seeing Amanda Serrano jump into the ring. She's lifting her arms up. She is also looking excited, not as excited as me. Katie Taylor is yet to arrive in the ring. As mentioned, I would like to see Katie Taylor win this. There was talk. I did not watch their previous fight. Apparently, there was a large amount of people who believed Amanda should have won and that it was rigged, which isn't uncommon to have that, because obviously it's a subjective thing to have these judges around the ring. And that is a problem with boxing. Let me know when you've done that link so I can jump. All right, I'm going to jump off. Do I jump off? Or
no, it's on Instagram. If you just load up Instagram, you'll be able to find the link there. Okay. Oh, she's gone. She's disappeared.
I'm talking though.
No, you're not allowed to talk. Home Gym Physique says Tyson looked great against Roy Jones. I got the impression Tyson definitely held back his true power. He seemed smarter by conserving his energy. Tyson for the win. Yeah. And anyone who disagrees with him gets banned. Okay. I wouldn't. I would disagree with you. Unfortunately, I'm not going to ban myself there. Home Gym Physique. I think that he wasn't holding back. I don't think that he had the energy to be able to continue to throw the shots that he wanted to throw in that matchup. But it was a few years ago, and he is a few years older now. And then he is facing not only a Roy Jones Jr., who was around the same age as Tyson. He is fighting Jake Paul, who is almost 30 years younger, with great footwork, good distance management, good distance control. He is a good boxer. A lot of people like to slag him off and say that because he's a YouTuber or he's a celebrity, that he doesn't have the ability to be at the elite level with boxing. But he's definitely not aiming for that world championship title. He is looking to do those big money fights, and this none other than Mike Tyson is going to be the biggest fight that you could possibly be in. And so he is very smart with his marketing side of things. And obviously people around the world have tuned in. You're back. You've tuned in to see this. And apparently, Isabella, tell us about what's happening with this Netflix thing. So people are having issues loading up and getting the stream to work.
Yes, as mentioned, I'm super excited and grateful to be one of the lucky people who has been able to tune in. Due to the millions of people tuning in worldwide live, Netflix has actually had loading issues, and many people are currently unable to access the footage that we have access to. So I do feel like today was my lucky day, even though today my kettle caught fire. While I had this footage loaded on both my phone and my laptop, I had to deal with an electrical fire. And due to my intense hope to watch this fight, I am very proud to say I dealt with it very calmly and very quickly.
Yes.
Back to you.
That's all right. I just want to address this comment here from Home Gym Physique. I just hope the fight is legit and not scripted. This is one of those comments that I see from people I've seen this a few times that people think that this may be fixed or it may be rigged or there may be an agreement. I can tell you right now, if any of those things were at play, that is fraud, and they would be charged at a federal level. You cannot fix a fight at any level. And especially with this being a sanctioned fight overseen by the Athletic Commission, there is no way that they can put it. I mean, they may have a gentleman's agreement, but I don't think that is going to take place. And if one of the camps had gone to the other and said, hey, can you just take it a bit easy? Or maybe can you just be like, you do not deserve to be in the ring. Like, if you're worried, if you are that worried about your fighter that you need some special consideration, you shouldn't be fighting. Like, there is no way that there would be anything but a legitimate fight taking place here.
Yeah, I would agree. Has there been a gentleman's agreement? I think what's important to recognize here is Jake Paul has himself worked and achieved great success in the realm of social media, and he knows how to put on a production. What I'm seeing, he knows how to put on a show. I think we should take that into consideration. I do think that to some level tonight, we will be seeing a show, unfortunately, as Tyson is one of my, the way his style of fighting is something I look up to. I think in terms of a show, I don't know how much they would have put to an agreement, but I do believe that Tyson is such a natural fighter. As soon as he's in the ring, I think any script is probably going to go out of the window. What do you think, Matt?
I don't think there's a script at all. I think that...
oh, really?
Oh, no, I don't think so. I think
no handshakes?
No, not in the slightest. I think it's both guys are going to get in and give it their absolute best effort, and that's what we're paying to see, and that's what everyone wants to see. I think it's a very easy excuse for people to say, like, whatever the result is, let's say Jake wins, and then people say, oh yeah, well, he won because it was scripted, or he won because he owns the promotional company, or he won because it's like, no, they got in the ring and they fought each other, and it's like, that's the result. So yeah, especially if there's a knockout, it's hard to argue against that. So let's just hope that Home Gym's physique his stream
has just dropped down, and I really pray for you that it comes back. I'm so nervous about that. I have got it on my laptop and on my computer. I don't know what will happen, Matt. If it does crash on my computer, I might need to give up the live stream. I don't think I can miss out on the live footage.
That's fine.
So you might have to continue it. I'll jump back in when I could.
Yeah. We'll work with it.
I will admit, I did say exactly what you've just said. I did say I do believe that, for example, if we were to see Jake Paul come in and beat Tyson by knockout in the first 10 seconds, 100% that to me would have to be something that wasn't real. I mean, I wouldn't believe that if I saw it. But at the same time, if there's one thing this fight, I think, shares with us all, is that the impossible can happen. We're looking at some random, this guy is around the same age as myself, fighting with a legend of the generation above us or a few generations above us. That's something I would have said was impossible, 10 years ago, but it's happening tonight.
Oh, absolutely. And the fact that he's been able to get Mike Tyson, of all people, to come back into the ring for a match is just incredible. It just shows the ability that they have to market events, to get things happening, and to a level where Tyson was interested enough, and it wasn't like, because his skill level is not that of a world champion, so it's not a squash match. Like, there'd be no point putting Mike Tyson against the current heavyweight champ or something like that. It's like, there's no point doing that match. But because of Jake's skill level, it's like, okay, well, this could be a competitive match because he's not elite, he's not a world champion, he does have good boxing skills, and he does market events fantastically, and both guys are going to walk away with hundreds of millions of dollars from this event.
That is very true. That is very true. And I'm amazed by what we're seeing already. So for those whose Netflix has unfortunately dropped out, we're currently seeing our main event. What do they call it before that? Maybe not the main event, the main card. I can't recall. But anyway, we have Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano, and they're just in the ring right now. We're just seeing Katie. She's looking really focused. That's one thing I noticed as soon as I saw her walk out and walking towards the ring. Did you notice that as well?
Yeah, I think that this was one of those things. This is probably one of the biggest moments for female boxing that could be out there. because
Absolutely.
I love the fact that they've given this platform for them as well. MVP is the promotional company that's running this, and
Mhm.
they wanted to spotlight that because they said, "Look, we love women's boxing. It doesn't get the attention it deserves.
Mm,
We know how many people are going to be watching this event.
mm.
This is the best opportunity for us to showcase women's boxing, and none other than these two amazing, incredible boxers that are going to be going at it in a couple of seconds from now. But I love to be able to. I love seeing these sorts of opportunities be given to people, and
Yeah.
especially for the women to get this sort of a spotlight.
Absolutely, I agree with that. And I think, for someone who has a reputation he has, this is something Jake Paul has done that's incredibly positive for the world. I will say that, this is huge as a woman in sport, as a woman who loves boxing, to see these two women go at it right now. And we've got Katie. I've really got my eyes. I just really just noticed the way she walked out, and she just looked really focused. Oh, we've got Amanda over here praying. If God's on her side, she'll definitely win.
What if
She's
the other girl
looking.
prays as
I don't
well,
know.
though?
Well, she didn't.
Oh
Not
no!
herself, but she is Irish. So, they're off. They are off to a start. So we've got 10 rounds of 2 minutes. I'm not sure what the break time is here.
These 2 minute rounds, they are definitely
Yes, 2 minutes. Yep.
okay. Great.
Well,
Yeah,
the first one was 2 minutes. I do believe the rest would be. Really interesting start. Katie feeling things out, both girls feeling things out, throwing a couple of jabs to test the distance here. Katie's kind of started a bit more active. She's definitely seems to be, looking to get that jab in quick. Overhand there. Didn't quite hit, didn't quite land, but she's definitely seems to be applying the pressure right now. Yep. She's
yeah.
applying more pressure. That's what I see. Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's early rounds in most boxing matches, especially when it's 10 rounds. It's usually a feeling out process, trying to find the distance, trying to, manage what your opponent's doing. Although we're seeing aggression here now, moving forward, pressing into the corner, and she's able to step back, maintain that distance. Looks like she wants to fight from that long range,
Yeah.
use that long step in jab, and then throw the overhand right every now and then. She doesn't want to be inside.
Absolutely. I think what's interesting about this is I actually thought that Amanda had about half an inch, which is not that much longer reach than Katie. But we are seeing that Katie's really trying to fight from the outside here. She really is. She's dancing around the ring. She's maintaining that on the outside. Oh, she's in. She threw a couple of shots there. Nice. That was Katie getting the shots. Katie's in the corner. She's moving around quite well here. Amanda seems to be getting a bit more into it now.
Yeah, this is where you get to see the game plan of both ladies start to take shape here. And it looks very much like Katie wants to stay on the outside, use that long range jab, and then stepping in with that overhand right every now and then.
Absolutely, yep. Oh, Katie took a little one to the face there. She's up against the ropes. Oh, she's up against the ropes now. Or Amanda getting a few into the head up close, really up in close, which is interesting.
She is staggering.
She's in the corner.
She got hit hard twice. There was a left hand straight to the jaw that really rocked her, and then a couple of punches later, another left hand landed. She was on wobbly legs. She was lucky the round ended there. I think she was not that far away from potentially getting a standing count. But
I do agree.
Not a good start, not the ideal start. It looked good for the rest of the round, but that end of that round, you could see there that Serrano was able to get in, landed that big left hook, and that staggered Katie. And then there was another shot that landed as well.
Boom, right in there with a nice left hook to the face is Amanda. I should have learned how to pronounce her last name correctly. I'm going to go with Serrano. We'll stick with Serrano. Serrano. Tomato. Sorry, Amanda. I was quite impressed with that little exchange at the end there from Amanda with the shots that she fired off there. That left hook was a lot stronger than I first saw it during the replay. That was quite strong. That would have shook Katie. I'm not sure if she's expecting that, but I'm sure she's prepared herself as much as possible to hold on to her belts. Yeah.
It's one of those things with if you're fighting at distance, if you're looking, it looks to me like she wants to win on points. If you're going to be fighting at distance in that way,
Mm,
and then
yep.
it's going to be a long game for you because you're hoping to land enough shots and tire your opponent out, and then you can start implementing and maybe look for a knockout later in the fight. But Serrano has started strong here. She's just taking those shots. She's walking forwards and throwing big left hooks, big right hooks. She's landed a couple in that early first round. And she's doing the same here, although she did take a left uppercut then, and they've tied up here in the middle to separate.
What's really interesting that I'm seeing is Katie's really fighting on that bouncy style, and I'm surprised to see Amanda kind of going more grounded and heavy with her punches. And that is more of my style and what we see from Tyson as well, that real like power. But a lot of the lighter girls that I see in women's boxing, they'll be really bouncy. So they're really like kind of bouncing on the outside. There we go. Katie's back to bouncing again, which is great for that speed. And she's a good exchange here. But if you're caught with the power and you're bouncing, boom, you're going to get hit. Yeah.
Yeah, your feet aren't touching the ground. So
I'm not a fan of the bouncing.
Much bouncing, no bouncing. Yeah, it looks like they're two different contrasting styles here, and the game plans are being very obvious as to Katie wanting to maintain distance. Every time that she's moved forward, she's backed away. She's trying to fight from the outside. Serrano having none of it. She's always moving forwards and moving forward with power as well, and she's landed a lot of big shots. Oh,
yeah,
I've
got a bit of blood.
Again. Maybe a head clash. I think they may have collided heads about 10 seconds before that, but there was another big left hook that landed for Serrano there.
I'm not sure. I think that round I probably would have given to Serrano. What about you, Matt?
Yeah, so I think she's up 2-0. I wouldn't have given that first one a 10-8, even though it was very close to a standing count. I think it's 10-9 across the board so far leading into this. But yeah, for Katie, she's going to have to, if she's going to implement her game plan, she needs to more movement, more footwork. She needs to keep away from Serrano. She is getting into those exchanges, and it does turn into a bit of a firefight, which is where she's getting caught.
I think we are seeing Serrano's style is defeating Katie's style. Katie's game plan isn't working. That's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing that Katie had this game plan. I'm not like, bouncing on the outside and maybe coming in, but Serrano's power and when she has landed those shots has shook Katie. So we're now back into round 3 of the fight. Both fighters starting with that same energy. Amanda now throwing a lot more than how she began round 1.
You can see that the bouncing is a little bit less intense here from Katie. I think she's been rocked a couple of times now. She's not as far with distance. She's not throwing as many of those long jabs. She's sort of fighting Serrano's fight here, and Serrano just keeps moving forward, landing power. Katie's going to have to change it up significantly, but I think she's been rocked several times. You can see in her face that
nice body shot by Serrano.
Absolutely. So this is Serrano's fight so far.
Sorry, go ahead. I interrupted you. That body shot was so good. I could not announce.
That's fine. That's all good. Yeah.
Great body shot by Serrano there. We've just had a great
jab from Katie. She landed a nice straight
right
jab.
In the face. Oh, sorry guys. If you were wondering what's happening, we just saw a really good little exchange there, and 2 really nice shots by Katie to the face. Serrano's now had a few shots in the face in this round. I'd probably so far be giving this round to Katie. We have 48 seconds left. Taylor there with a few good shots.
Yeah, it looks like Katie has abandoned that game plan of staying on the outside and sticking with movement. And she's almost mirroring Serrano here. And both of them throwing big, heavy, loopy hooks, both landing. But it looks like Katie is landing more effectively in this round.
Nice. Katie's landed a few good ones now. I'm definitely giving this to Katie with 20 seconds to go. What I'm seeing right now is, go ahead, Matt.
No, she did take a big left hook from Serrano just there, but it was probably the only significant strike that Serrano's landed in this round.
They've definitely switched up their style now, and this is a style of fighting I love that we don't really see in women's boxing, especially amongst the lighter weight categories. We generally see a lot more, especially domestically and in New Zealand, a lot more of that bouncy kind of a bit more defensive style. But I just love that power, being a bit more grounded and a bit more slow. Really, actually, I prefer that. I just think it's a bit, instead of slow, I'd rather use the word intentional with their punches, rather than this airy fairy, like, come get me, just to see them planted and, some heavy up close exchanges or a bit more power. I love that style of fighting. That's me. It looks like Mike's not wearing any pants. I did not really want to see that.
It did look like that, didn't it?
I did just see Mike Tyson's ass. I wasn't expecting to see that. That's okay. They are commentating on that. They've just mentioned, I've got the subtitles up, something about a butt shot. I don't know if they're planning to fight this in their underwears only with the men's boxing guard on, which would be an interesting fight. As mentioned, I told you that it was a show and that something like this could happen. Maybe that's going to be a bit of a twist. Do you think that we're going to see okay, let's finish this one off, but later we must talk about whether you think you're going to see an ear bitten off today. We're just approaching, we're just starting round 4. We're now 20 seconds in.
So
good exchange.
Yeah, absolutely. So round 4 is coming up here between these two ladies who've been putting on a tremendous bout so far. This is why they would have picked them for this main event, co-main event. Great exchange there. Both girls landing. Serrano getting the better of it. She's moved back. She's smelling a knockout here, but she's getting hit at the same time. Both of them are getting hit with big punches. Serrano's landing more often than Katie is, but they're both getting hurt.
Yeah, it's quite a heavy exchange. I'm surprised to see this. We are watching 2 of the world's best women boxers, which is just awesome. As someone passionate both about the sport and, believe it or not, a woman herself, it's incredible to be watching this this level of boxing. I'm so happy to be watching this. As mentioned, they're just so up close. And Serrano's got blood dripping off her face. She's had a cut to her right eye up here. Ref is calling it to stop. He's just brought him. Oh, yep, blood rule, as mentioned. Okay, so I think we're having a stop to fix that. No, we're not.
He's saying you can't hug, you can't grab your opponent.
Oh, like no holding. Yep. Are they not calling? They're just letting the blood drip? Okay, that's cool. That's more gangster. That's fine. All right, we're just seeing a very bloody fight now. Katie with less blood on her face. It is brutal. We're seeing some really strong exchanges here between both of these ladies. This is beautiful fighting. This is intense. Wow. Yes. Just headshot after headshot. Both girls landing jabs. Left hook there. Beautiful. I love what I'm seeing.
This is a very entertaining fight. This is one of the better boxing matches that I've seen in recent history. Both girls landing huge shots and having a ton of heart. Both getting rocked. Serrano is definitely landing the more often, more significant strikes, but she is taking a lot of shots as well. So she needs to be careful that if she's hunting for that knockout, then not to get knocked out herself, because she is taking a lot of shots at the same time.
Indeed, we're just watching a bit of a replay here. A fair bit of clinching going on between the girls.
There's a headbutt that caused that cut.
Oh, yeah, indeed. Yes. Katie Taylor has headbutted Amanda Serrano.
Well,
a new technique.
Headbutt or pressed her head against her and driven down.
I believe that was an intentional headbutt and she should leave for that. No. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're heading into round 5. This match has been incredibly action-packed and a lot of strikes landed. They're feeling out at the start of this round, but we might see another slugfest round, which would suit Serrano. That's exactly what she wants to do. But Katie seems more than game to jump in there and throw the leather back.
Indeed. I think a problem with Katie's game plan is potentially it has lost her the early rounds and could potentially lose her belts and the victory today. I think she should have been trying to land more and dance less. And I think, unfortunately, so far we're in round 5 now. I'd probably be giving it to Serrano based off that. What about yourself, Matt?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that the stick and move game plan and fighting on the outside for Katie was her style that she was trying to implement. But Serrano just walking through that and cornering her and able to land big, significant strikes, eventually forcing Katie to change up her game plan. And now she is also, it's almost a bar brawl at this point. They're both throwing big, big exchanges, stepping in, and it's 3 or 4 punches. Serrano seems to land 1 or 2. Katie might land 1, and then they separate again.
Absolutely. I think it is turning into a bar brawl. We've just seen Serrano's head down. Katie had it in a little bit of a headlock there. It is turning bloody. It is brutal, as it has been from about round 3 there. Real brutal. I must say I'm now a Serrano fan for sure. I'd really like to approach. Oh my gosh, it looks like Serrano nearly hit the ref in the head with a jab. Brutal exchange. Lots of hooks coming from Serrano in the middle of the ring now. This is round 5, nearly finishing. Katie Taylor's thrown about six punches in a row. They're very quick to the body. And there we go. That is the end, I believe, of round 5.
Yeah, so I reckon that's another round for Serrano there. She controlled the distance. She was moving forward with aggression, landed a lot of significant strikes. Katie had a couple of good moments, but Serrano's probably running away with this match at this point.
I would agree with that, which is unfortunate. I guess just as a Katie Taylor fan, I would have liked to have seen her come out a bit more strong in the first 2 rounds myself. And I think now that the girls have both resorted to, I guess, that a bit more tired, maybe losing a bit of technique, but that real, I'd say the fighter has come out of both women right now. And we're seeing these 2 women give everything they have. And that is beautiful to see. And we're seeing that neither of them want to lose.
That's right. Halfway through this co-main event, we've got Mike Tyson and Jake Paul coming up next. It's the main event everyone's been waiting to see, but this fight is definitely living up to the co-main event status. They're halfway through. We've seen a lot of brawling, both girls taking big, significant punches. At this point in time, we think Serrano is ahead, and Katie Taylor is she's fighting a different style than she wanted to, but she's being mildly effective, but not as effective as Serrano is.
For our audience who were unable to tune into the Netflix stream, I must just say we had a bit of a pan out, and the entire stadium is packed. It doesn't look like there is a single seat vacant. It is incredible, the size of this event. And to see these 2 women battling it out right now, preceding Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. How exciting is that? This is round 6. So far, we'd be giving it to Serrano. At the moment, Katie Taylor counter-punching, very strong. Every single exchange so far, I would say, in this round's been relatively even. It looks like we are stopping now for the gash.
Yeah, I think that Serrano's not happy. There may have been another headbutt there that has opened up that same cut again. She's not happy about it. She's complained to the referee. The referee has called time. I think the doctor's going to check that cut. It should be fine because it's not bleeding into the eye. It's going to the side of the eye. But you can see Serrano is very upset about it. That cut has really opened up significantly.
It has opened up.
And hopefully the doctor doesn't want to stop this one. But it should be okay because it is bleeding to the side of the eye. It shouldn't affect her vision. But I think she's upset about the fact that there may have been another clash of heads, and that's what caused that cut to open even further.
The gash is looking quite deep. It did open up significantly, a lot more than I was expecting it to there. It almost looks like, it looks like half an inch deep or something there. So that wouldn't be quite fun to fight with. I think as an athlete, I'd be incredibly frustrated with blood on my face. More so just like, I know focus would not be on it, but it wouldn't be fun because, any hindrance, it would be more of an annoyance to me having something like that, Great exchange here. Both girls up really close. Serrano on the ropes. That's nice. Real nice fighting right now. I wish everyone could be watching.
Yeah, so it looks like there was a bit of a brawling going on there against the ropes, but no significant punches landed clean. Serrano slowed down a little bit. I think she's letting that cut affect her mood and her emotions more than she needs to. She just needs to continue doing what she was doing. I think she may have this feeling that the fight may be stopped because of the cut, and she seems upset about it. But at the end of the day, you're probably up 6 rounds here, and there's only 4 to go. Her team is in the corner with her now, working on that cut, trying to get that blood to stop. But if she just continues doing what she's doing and fighting with aggression, moving forward, she's been landing big shots. She's not happy about that cut opening up again. And yes, it was a second clash of heads that she's upset about that has opened up that cut. So twice now we've seen. I don't think the first one was what I would call a head, but more of like a. But Katie had her head pressed against Serrano and then sort of just pushed forwards. I don't think it was like a full-on headbutt, but it did open up that cut. And then that one there was an unintentional clash of heads, but it has opened up that cut significantly. But Serrano, if she wants to win this fight, she needs to forget about that and not make it about the cut and just continue what she was doing in the early rounds.
I agree with you there. I would be giving round 6 to Taylor. And what I really noticed towards the tail end of that round, wow, great exchange of overhands there from Katie Taylor right on the head of Serrano. She's going side, side, side. Serrano's going to get knocked out at this rate, I reckon. In this, just headshot. Oh, this is great. Oh, great. She's getting underneath Serrano's punches. I think this has really rocked Serrano. At the tail end of that, I just saw Katie's strengths come back. I saw at the tail end of round 6, Katie's focus and kind of honing in on the weakness of her opponent there. What we really saw was we could easily see Serrano's emotions getting the better of her. Great headshots from Serrano here, couple of overhands, couple of hooks, getting straight in there. Now she's returning everything that Katie gave her previously. Towards the tail end of round 6. Sorry, go ahead, Matt.
No, you're right. Yeah, that's a lot of action going on. But yeah, you're right. Serrano has definitely slowed down a lot. I would hope that this cut hasn't affected her to the point where she's now so worried about it that she's not going to continue fighting the way she was fighting. She is, to me, she seems like the stronger puncher. But she may have been a little bit tired at the start of this round, but they're both turning it on now. And both girls have landed some big shots here, but Katie Taylor definitely opening stronger and landing a lot more punches than Serrano so far in this round. Serrano's throwing a lot of arm punches, just sort of standing still and just throwing with her arms as opposed to moving with her body like she was in the early rounds. I think she's getting tired here.
Oh, absolutely. I think we're really seeing Katie come out strong here. This is really interesting. This is an incredibly close fight. I think what we've really seen in that last round was, unfortunately, I might be getting a lag. My screen is going blurry. And my screen has stopped, but luckily I do have it up on it's loading again now. But what we were really seeing was Katie Taylor come out strong. And I think it has just really rocked Serrano.
I think she timed it to perfection there because it looks like Serrano still upset a bit about that cut that had taken place, and she may have started to gas a little bit. That's when Katie really started to pour it on. The first 30 seconds of that round was all Katie Price landing lots of combinations, lots of shots. Serrano sort of throwing tired punches back, throwing with her arms only, not using her body, not twisting. There's not that power that was coming out of the Serrano side from those early rounds. She is looking like she may be gassing, and hopefully she can hold on. She's still got 3 rounds to go. I'd say she's ahead on the cards, but this may be dangerous to fight in the way that she's fighting with that lack of energy at this point.
Yeah, I was quite surprised just to see how strong Katie looked towards the end of round 6 and at the beginning of round 7. It was quite a contrast to what we've seen earlier. I'm now back, but that potentially could happen when we see Tyson fight. And if it does, I'm sorry, audience, but I will be leaving to try and attempt to grab it on my phone, I think, and then I might jump back on. Whoa, who's there in the corner? She looks wrecked. Is that Taylor? What happened to Taylor? Has she been hit bad?
I can't see her face currently, but she looks okay at the moment. She's got a little bit of blood on her eye, but she's fighting strongly in the start of this 8th round. And Serrano's more aggressive. She's coming forwards, but she did walk straight into a left hand from Katie Price. She's got Katie up against the ropes. This is her opportunity here, and she's throwing another arm punch.
Okay, we're back. I'm really grateful to be back. Thank you, God. Please, God, let me see Mike Tyson and Jake Paul fight. Please don't let it lag. Amen. So what we're seeing, this is interesting. What did we miss at the end of round 7 really quickly? Because I did not get to catch that.
You didn't miss anything significant. Serrano looking tired. We're getting a warning from the referee to Katie Price here. That cut has opened up for a 3rd time and maybe another 3rd headbutt. or third clash of heads. So Serrano very upset about that, but she needs to switch on here, keep her defense. She just took a big left hand, and now she is moving forward. She was both girls landing.
Taylor with a great straight there to the head. Now, Taylor is obviously aiming for Serrano's weakness right now, which is that gash, and Taylor is using that to her advantage. As mentioned by Matt, she's got a couple of great left hooks in there. She's aiming everything to that left side of the face, as she should be. A bit of a brawl going on now, a quick exchange between both women. This is an amazing fight. Here we go. Ooh. Here we go. Yeah, great headshots here. They are brawling in the middle.
Yes, big shots landed by Katie Price there. Serrano turning it on and throwing a 15-punch combination. None of it very effective. A lot of it went to the body. It didn't really do any damage. But then Katie Price able to throw Katie Taylor able to throw some decent shots and land. And again, another warning for a headbutt. That's what I was confused about there, just at the end there, because the referee did stop the action for the fourth time to warn Katie Taylor about clash of heads. And it seems that she just keeps headbutting in that same spot. That's 4 times that cut has opened up now.
This gash is looking significantly deep now. As mentioned, the skin is just splitting apart from Amanda Serrano's perfectly micro-tattooed right eyebrow. I think it's really splitting apart. I think we're looking at about 2 centimeters, maybe 3 centimeters there. The blood quite substantial. As mentioned, I just think that would be incredibly frustrating. I think she is gathering her emotions a bit more. I think she is getting back. I think perhaps the adrenaline's just so high right now. She's able to be coming back a bit. I'm going to make my screen a little bit smaller to see if that helps the lagging.
Okay, yeah, so we've got the round 9 of 10 here, and I'd say Serrano is probably still ahead on the cards, but she's wearing down. She is tired. She's going into these last rounds trying to utilize her game plan. She's throwing a lot of punches right now, none of them with a lot of power. She's throwing more to the chest, more to the body.
She's tired.
Yeah, exactly. She's trying to give it everything she's got, but she's emptying the gas tank here early in this round. None of it really being super effective. Both girls throwing a lot of punches here, but Katie is definitely winning these exchanges. She's only throwing 1 or 2 compared to Serrano's 10, but she's landing those 1 or 2, whereas Serrano is throwing and just hitting the hips, hitting the gloves, the elbows. She's not being as effective with her strikes.
I think we're really seeing the fatigue kick in for Serrano, and we're seeing Katie Taylor's career kick in for her, as in all her lifetime of fighting, and that's kind of come into play and risen in the last 2 rounds.
Jeez, both girls looking exhausted at this point. Katie leaning forwards at every opportunity to lean on Serrano, but she is taking a lot of shots. Both girls looking staggered. Both girls landing big punches. They've been hit a lot in this fight. They may see a knockdown in this round.
I think Katie Taylor is looking for the knockout punch. I think that's going to be how she wins this to win it. I think she's going to have to get the knockout to win it. I think the crowd is really invested in this. They were on their feet just earlier before. Every single set of eyes in this entire stadium is on these 2 women, 2 of the best women, most accomplished women in boxing we have, taking it out on each other in this ring. 2 big misses by Serrano. Katie getting out of there. Katie's technique. What's just happened here? It's the end of the round. Katie's technique really coming into play here, and I think currently to win this, I think Katie's going to have a stellar of a final round. What do you think, Matt?
Yeah, I think that Serrano is fighting for the decision at this point, and Katie is trying to pour it on and get that finish. But I don't know if she's got enough of that knockout power to be able to finish Serrano. Serrano's probably going to be doing some more clinch work. I think she's using her multitude of punches as a defense. She's throwing 10, 15 punches that are not that strong, more as a distraction, more as a deterrent to try to just make it through the round. But she is getting hit often. She's getting hit a lot. I'd say she's ahead on the cards. She's probably knows that. Her corner is probably telling her, you just got to get through these next 2 minutes and you'll have won this fight. Whereas it's probably the opposite in the Katie Taylor corner, where they're saying, you need this knockout. Go out and give it absolutely everything you got. And what a moment for women's boxing right here. An absolutely fantastic match to put on for your co-main event. And we're just starting the 10th round.
Again, just starting the 10th round. Yeah.
You go.
Well, I was just going to say how Serrano started that round lifting up her arms and I believe saying, let's go, let's go. I'm not sure, but she was lifting up her arms at the beginning of that, kind of saying to Taylor, let's go, which I think for Taylor, could shake her a little bit. We've only got 1 minute and 30 seconds, 90 seconds left of this amazing fight. What are we seeing, Matt?
Yeah, we're seeing both girls giving it absolutely everything they've got. Serrano knows that she's got 90 seconds until she'll pull off a decision victory. She is clinching a little bit, but she is still throwing big punches. But I think the punches she's showing is more so just to stop Katie from coming after her. So we are seeing a lot of back and forth, although Katie did get hit hard there. She's on wobbly legs at the moment. She's leaning on Serrano. Serrano having none of it, pushing her back. And it's almost rock'em sock'em robots at this point. They're both throwing big punches and both getting hit. Their heads are flying back all over the place. We're seeing an absolute brawl. Serrano getting the better of it at this point. She is landing more shots. Katie is on wobbly legs. She keeps having to lean on Serrano. Serrano cleverly moving back, not allowing her to get that break. And they're in the center of the ring. The referee has separated them.
Katie's braids managed to come undone. I'm telling you, as someone who gets her hair cornrowed for boxing, that means a large amount of power on that right side of her face. She's been hit. Another nice right hook by Serrano. 20 seconds left of this fight. They've just been separated again. Another quick exchange. Couple of face shots there. And you were right. Taylor just leaning on. Taylor's lost this round. Taylor's probably lost the fight.
Yeah, well, she landed a big right hand there that staggered Serrano. She's only got 8 seconds left. They've clinched in the corner. I think this is going to be it.
This is it. They're in the corner. Katie's got the strength in the corner, but she needed more.
Oh,
almost a knockout. War. Almost a knockout if they had another round. That is the end. That is the end. Done. Both girls still standing. A nice hug there between the two girls. Katie looks destroyed. I will say that. And I must say, I didn't want to talk about her too much there, but once you have your hair fully braided, incredibly tight for boxing, because you don't want a single strand in your face when you're sparring or when you're fighting, the amount of pressure that would have taken, I think, to move that, to shift that specific braid would have been probably hair ripping out style. So, Katie's looking more beat up than I would have imagined her to look. Both girls are. Both girls dealing with that. We're just watching a replay here. Taylor resting her head on Serrano, then coming in with a quick exchange. Most of those punches being completely non-substantial, not really hitting the target, and not enough power between them as she battles with that fatigue. And now we're seeing Serrano come through. Nice attempt at an overhand that failed, and a great couple of overhands there from Serrano that did hit the target onto Katie. And then the final 5-10 seconds of that round was really beautiful by Taylor. And I think, again, if we'd had another minute there, she probably would have taken the victory and potentially had a bit of a space there for a knockout. There was just a really good couple of jabs there, couple of straight there, straight into the face. We've got Serrano here at 96 and Taylor at 93. What are your thoughts, Matt?
Yeah, I think the Serrano did enough to win the fight. I definitely gave her that last round. She staggered Katie a couple of times in that. I think that she knew she was going to be walking away with the decision victory, and with 15 seconds left, she just fought defensively. So yeah, we're seeing the unofficial scorecard, which is giving Serrano the win at 96-93. But the early rounds, as we were discussing, have gone Serrano's way on these unofficial scorecards opinion, which is something that we agreed with. She was able to implement her game plan a lot better than Taylor was. Taylor moving on the outside, looking for a distance control style of fight, being forced into the game plan that Serrano wanted to implement, which was more of a brawl style. And in the end, Katie said, well, all right, let's just brawl. And she did come off second best in most of the exchanges.
I do agree. I think what we've seen here is Serrano succeeding by playing her strengths successfully to Katie Taylor's style. I'm really happy actually to see that style of fight, getting those first few rounds, because it's the style of fighting that I love, and that we don't get to see much of that in women's boxing. It's way more traditionally Katie Taylor's style there. I do think those first few rounds were lost, unfortunately, because of the, I guess, Katie Taylor's game plan simply didn't work against Serrano's.
We're getting the official decision is being read out right now. I'm just going to turn the volume up so I can hear what they say.
Yeah, you do that. I'm going to say pretty much what we saw. The first few rounds is where Katie Taylor lost this for me. And I thought the middle, what? I thought the middle, no way she won that. Nah, if she won that, nah. But I am happy, but nah, I would have given that to Serrano. Okay, now I feel bad for Serrano. That's 2 losses by decision. Katie Taylor has, it appears, are we sure? Sorry for the people watching. I was so surprised by the decision that I didn't correctly commentate it, but it does appear that Katie Taylor's been given the victory. Katie Taylor's got a belt still on. It's incredible given her performance in the first few rounds. I didn't get to watch the first fight, but there was a lot of talk that Amanda should have won that first fight. I got to say, watching this fight, I do believe she was, at least for the first, the majority of that fight, I believe she was the winner. I do believe there were a couple of rounds there where she gave a really weak performance because she was so rocked by the massive gash on her right, finely microbladed eyebrow.
That's one of those things that makes people turn off of boxing is decisions like that. And I think that there was no way that Katie Taylor won that match. I think that this is another feather, unfortunately, in the cap of controversial calls for boxing. I don't know what the judges are seeing, but they didn't seem the same fight that I saw.
Now, let me just quickly jump in with the final punch stats. So 217 landed by Taylor, 324 by Serrano. Unfortunately, it's just disappeared off the screen, but I believe it was saying that Taylor just had a few more accurate ones. I think her hit percentage was 44% versus Serrano's at 41%. It did jump off the screen, so unfortunately I missed that one.
Yao Barlin of Swagran says, how many more fights? It's coming up next, mate. It's the next one up.
It's the next fight. So Katie Taylor, winner by unanimous decision, and the winner that we did not pick. I still wouldn't have picked it. I personally didn't pick it, and that's what I love about watching boxing, because I'm learning what do the judges see. It can be highly subjective. We don't get to see what they see, and they're sitting right next to it and all that. But I do agree. Unfortunately, we're seeing potentially boxing removed from the Olympic program, and when we see things like breakdancing or skateboarding included, to me as a traditional Olympics fan, I guess you could say, I believe the traditional sports should stay. However, due to decisions like this, it looks like it's on the rocks for boxing to be included at the LA 28 Olympic Games. And it's a shame to see, but we don't see everything.
Yeah, it's one of those disappointing things. And it is the problem with having sports where somebody gets to give their opinion as to who they believe won, as opposed to having something like swimming or running or whatever, where if you came across the finish line first, you're the winner. There's no like, I thought that you ran better, so you get the win. It's none of that. It's such a disappointment to see that happen once again, especially on this big stage that we've got for women's boxing. We saw a tremendous bout. Both women fought a fantastic match. I thought Serrano was clearly the winner. I had it very, very comfortably ahead. I thought there was no way that Katie could have been given the decision there. But this is sort of like the maybe the thing that ruined that match before me. Like people could go back and be like, they could have said, look at this fight, look at this amazing performance between these two women. But the question mark is going to overhang now as to say, but it was given to the person it shouldn't have been given to.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And Serrano, just talking to the reporter now, has mentioned that coming into this fight, she knew it was going to be shady. I knew it was going to be shady. I'm the featherweight champion of the world, and I want to be the great. I want to fight the best, and it is what it is, which I guessed before the subtitle was fully on the screen. I think it's tough because we don't see what each of those judges are seeing, and every set of eyes is different. But I mean, I would have given that to Serrano.
Yeah,
And she
well,
kept headbutting me, she says. She kept headbutting me. She's talking about the blood in her eye right now.
what do you think? What do you guys think in the comments? For who do we think won that fight? You can just write Katie, or you could write Serrano. Yeah, I'd love to hear if anyone did
Oh,
score it for Katie as to why and what they saw that we didn't.
really interesting. Serrano now discussing the headbutts. One observation I wanted to share with the team is Katie really hung her head at the end of that last round. Katie, just in her eyes, and even now, post the fight, she looks like she looks like she knows that she lost,
Oh
and
yeah,
she looks like she doesn't feel like she truly earned that victory, which would be a horrible feeling. Actually, that would be a horrible feeling. You want to win properly, and you want to win knowing that it was you and you gave it 100%, and that's why you won, and you were better than the other person.
this is one of those things that turns me off of watching boxing. I got to tell you, I just
as a
can't
boxer, it
stand it.
breaks my heart. If that breaks my heart, like, Serrano is not happy. The world won't be happy watching that. It's not a great example for the world to see. And right now, the world is watching those who were able to access it.
That's right. It's probably one of the biggest platforms for women's boxing that has ever taken place, with a sold out stadium arena and millions of people watching this bout from around the world that would have been incredibly enthralled through the match, who are now
Yeah.
pissed off because of this decision. They've seen the person who I think rightfully won that match clearly, and who most people would have thought the same. And then the other girl gets the decision, and it's like, oh, is this what boxing is like? Yeah, I'm not interested in that. Thanks.
Serrano looks absolutely heartbroken here. It looks like her coach is talking about the amount of headbutting that was going on. So I actually thought, I didn't really catch that with my screen here. I thought what was going on was the ref was constantly calling time for the blood. He was actually calling time as Matt was announcing, due to this level of headbutting. And yeah, so he's really going hell and leather here, talking about the headbutting being the reason he's lost.
Yeah, well, you can see that Katie's style was moving forwards with her head down, and her defense was that, when she was being hit, she had her chin tucked and she would move forwards. And she was throwing some body shots and trying to clinch. And a lot of those times when she was moving forwards to try to clinch, her head was right in Serrano's face there. And we saw a couple of times her head pressed up against, and initially it was like a drag which opened up that cut. Then in the fourth round, I think they had an unintentional clash of heads, which was very mid-exchange. They were both moving and they both just unfortunately happened to smack into each other. But then probably 3 times after that, we did see Katie again moving forwards, trying to use her defensive technique, but pushing her head into Serrano, and it just pressing into that cut, which just kept opening it. And the referee did jump on top of it, but I mean, he didn't issue any warnings. He didn't take any points, and you could see that it was upsetting Serrano quite a bit after the second time that it did open up. Luckily for us, we did get to see the rest of the fight, because those sorts of cuts usually will stop a fight because they're bleeding straight into the competitor's eyes. Luckily, this one was running down the side. But I just feel annoyed. I'm actually disappointed.
Yeah,
I was so excited. Like, that was great. It was a great fight and a terrible result.
Yeah, I can see how Katie Taylor's game plan was to capitalize on Serrano's immediate red flag weakness of this gash on her head with the jabs and the overhands that she was throwing there. I thought that was boxing. Like, that was a good game plan to do. But headbutting, that's dirty. Like a back of head shot's a cheap shot. That was disappointing, I guess. But I just think in the heat of the moment, there was no way. But I can see it in her eyes now. Her hands have been raised by her team for victory. But in her eyes, she doesn't look like she's won that.
Yeah, she didn't lift her arms. The team lifted her arms.
Yeah, the team lifted her arms. And there just didn't seem to be a celebration there from Katie Taylor, which I think is a bit sad. You've got two fighters there who lost out, not just one. You robbed her of that loss, actually.
Yeah.
And a comment there from Serrano's coach: Katie Taylor is a beautiful girl, but she has a huge head. I think I think you can be both.
Yeah.
Yeah, super interesting. I do think I mean, overall, looking at the whole fight, for those who didn't see it, one thing I really just saw was, the first few rounds we saw Katie bouncing too much. We saw Serrano's planted, heavy style succeeding and being victorious. And then once we saw that Serrano had that gash, and it got worse and worse as it progressively got worse, we saw her attitude really shake up a bit, and there was a real moment of weakness, which Katie then attacked on. But there was that real change in her attitude that you could see, and she was getting increasingly frustrated by the lack of the referee kind of stepping in there. And I think that she really lost those rounds quite substantially when her attitude changed. We could have kind of seen that go two ways. I think she's fought MMA, and I just think in that, you would be, you're prepared for kicks. You're prepared for the most horrible feeling. I'm not an MMA fan, even though everyone's trying to get me into it, because I hate the feeling of people, that I would much rather get punched any day of the week than have someone twist my arm, So I'm surprised she didn't kind of bring a different attitude, but I can understand, in the heat of the moment, getting totally affected by all of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the main event is the next thing up. We're going to see Mike Tyson stepping back into the ring at 58
Let's
years
go.
old, and he's taking
Let's
on
go.
Isabella's favorite boxer in Jake Paul.
For those who don't know,
27, I think he is.
I have been challenging Jake Paul for a fight since I co-hosted the Daily Combat podcast with Matt, Connelly, and Dave Stockbridge. And I've been challenging him for a fight, and he's been so scared he's never even responded. The same thing to Ronda Rousey. She never responded, which is fine.
He's in it for the money. He's in it for the money, and rightfully so. If you're going to get into this sport, it's a dangerous sport. You can die in that ring. You could step in there and get brain trauma. There is so much risk going in there. You're fighting another person, especially if you're going to be fighting a monster like Mike Tyson, who's known for just wrecking people. You want to be getting as much money as you possibly can, and so yeah. I think that they've really shaken up the world in the last probably 10 years. The YouTube guys who have put on these incredible, enormous events, and they've shown the rest of the boxing world how they can create interest and how they can actually earn big paydays by having personality, by creating drama, by creating hype around your upcoming match. And these guys, most of the time, are not elite boxers, and they're not at the world championship level, but they sell out stadiums. They sell millions of pay-per-views. They make millions of dollars. Why? Because they make the match interesting to watch. They make it so that you either hate them or you love them. And people love Mike Tyson. They hate Jake Paul. This is the perfect matchup right here.
Absolutely right with that one. Now let's talk predictions. I must say, I've got a gut feeling we're going to see an ear getting bitten off today. My predictions are it's definitely going to go for more than one round. It'll be interesting. Let's see. Someone might just come out. And I have definitely, in the last few days, having the opportunity to watch a documentary about this fight. 3 episodes, great, available on Netflix. It kind of allowed me to see a different side of Jake Paul. I saw a really serious side. I saw someone who's taking his sport incredibly seriously, which I haven't seen before. And I think having that opportunity, I would say, he is taking it very seriously. He is, taking it like as an athlete, he's got the prime recovery, he is focused. He's definitely not just a YouTuber, as I saw him as. He is a fully professional athlete with all his funds from YouTube. He is able to be training full-time, recovering full-time, have the best things around him, which is an incredible thing for any athlete to have that. We wouldn't usually see, I guess, someone who's not in the sport established have that level of what you need as an athlete, those resources. And he has said that himself. He's put all the resources he has ahead of him. He is 27. Mike Tyson is 58. That is a substantial age difference, despite it being someone known as Iron Mike. And Jake Paul is consistently picking out these people who are, a lot older. I don't think he would be approaching it if, he didn't think he had a chance. And I do think for himself as a businessman, even just getting in the ring, knocking Mike Tyson out, getting an ear nibbled by Mike Tyson, who knows? I think these are all things that will boost Jake Paul's popularity substantially. What are your predictions for the fight, Matt?
Yeah, I
And
don't
maybe
think
some from our audience as well.
absolutely. I would love to hear in the comments if anyone has their have you got your money on? Is it Mike Tyson, Iron Mike Tyson, or what is Jake Paul's? It was like El Chapo or something. Like he's got the silliest nickname.
I'm assuming he might have been given that though. If he may have been given that because he trains in Puerto Rico. I'd love to go and
Okay,
train boxing there one day. But yeah, there you go.
right. Yeah, well, I'm seeing a very motivated Jake Paul. He's 27
Mm,
years old, 6'1". His record is 10-1. As we said before, he's not an elite boxer. He's not a world champion. This will be the first time that he's ever fought at heavyweight, and he's going in against an absolute legend, one of the legends and icons of boxing, which is Mike Tyson. 50 wins, 6 losses. Haven't seen Mike Tyson in the ring for many years. He did do an exhibition match with Roy Jones, but prior to that, he'd been retired for a long time. So this is a return, a get up off of the couch moment for Mike Tyson. He has put in a lot of work. He's been training hard for it. You can see that he's motivated for this matchup. I think that it's just going to be too much of an ask for him at this point in time, 58 years old versus 27 years old. I think that Jake is surrounded by very good boxing pundits and coaches, and they work very hard on game plans. He does fight as an intelligent boxer. He is a good boxer that has skills that can win him this match. I don't see this going. I think Mike Tyson's best chance of winning this match is going to be in that first round with the big knockout. I think that's where he's going to have his most energy, his most stamina, and his most knockout power. I think as soon as that first round ends, the odds significantly change in Jake Paul's favor. I was surprised to see that they've changed the rounds to 2 minutes instead of 3 minutes, which is traditional for a boxing match. I think that favors Mike Tyson a lot. It is over 8 rounds. I have predicted a TKO finish for Jake Paul in the 4th round.
I have also joined Matt on that prediction, even though I don't want to. I agree with what you've said there. I think, here we go. We've got a comment from the Drew24. I think if Paul pisses him off too much, Tyson will switch to his dark side and snap, and he will unleash and try to KO and hurt him. That's how I see it. I agree with you there, Drew. I think that Tyson's mind might actually exceed his body, though. I think I've definitely been in that. My body's broken before where my mind's had more power than my body. And I kind of feel like at 58, in his head, he might be thinking, especially as time goes on and the fatigue kicks in. I do think, first of all, I'll just quickly say, I do think we're going to see it go on for more than one round. I don't know why, but I don't have the gut feeling that he's going to get that KO that we need him to have in the first few rounds. But back to what I'm thinking is that as the fatigue sets in, he might be trying to punch like he used to when he was really fighting like 19 years ago. Was it 19? I'm not sure when his last fight exactly was. Proper fight. And then his body isn't going to act as he thinks it would. And he might just, when the fatigue fits in, even though he's been training really hard in the lead up, once that fatigue kicks in, it might be enough that he reverts back. If he gets super wrecked, or all this preparation he's done in the last 6 months might not be enough.
I think every time that you've seen Mike Tyson fight and lose is because he gets gassed and he gets tired. He is the most dangerous man in the world in those first 2 to 3 rounds, and then after that he starts to fade. And I think if anyone can stick it out and just use their footwork, use their distance management, stay away from his power, stay away from his knockout strikes, he starts to walk. He starts to not be up on his toes anymore. He gets tired, especially if he gets peppered by a lot of jabs and a lot of body shots. You can see it's almost his will start to sort of fade. And we've seen that over the 6 losses that he had. Even the match with Buster Douglas, where he was winning that fight and had Buster Douglas on the ground. Buster Douglas able to get up, weather the storm, and then fire back, and eventually was able to knock out Mike Tyson. But discipline is also one of the factors that can go into it, with Mike having a temper and a history of breaking the rules and getting angry, and the ideal person to piss him off is going to be Jake Paul.
That's incredibly accurate, Matt.
So it would be fun to watch. This is an exciting match. This is why so many people.
He's going to bite his ear off. I'm telling you. Jake Paul is going to piss off Mike Tyson. Old Mike is going to come back and bite off one more ear, and I will put something in my place on this. I'm not sure what to put on it. I'm trying to think what I would like for boxing.
What, Milo tin?
My Milo tin, my high protein Milo. I don't really know what I've got that I would put on that. It's got to be something I'm willing to lose.
Oh, you don't have to put anything on it, but you could be your lock of the week that you think that there's going to be an ear bitten off.
I believe it's going to be a little bit of a nibble. I believe at some point Jake Paul's ear is going to be inside of Mike Tyson's mouth. I want to hear from our audience. What do we think? But here we go. We've got Drew back. Power can carry on even in the later stages of your life. I've had, I'm currently not competing in sport, but my power definitely is the last thing to go. Taking a break, 100%. I just think I do agree with that. I think if you've got that genetic power, it's there, and you can bring it back with a little bit of training. It doesn't have to. Like, I've constantly throughout my sports career rocked up to events with no training. And they have been power events, and I have done really well. Like, always, managing to get top 3. Nationally and stuff, and I think that's all been because power just doesn't go. I do agree with that, actually.
Yeah, I think, well, definitely is one of those things I agree with, that power doesn't go, but the ability to land your shots and the ability to be able to have the energy to throw them is what is important. So you may have a really powerful shot, you can't land it, and then you're exhausted. It's useless. So it depends on how this match plays out. I think Jake's got to play it smart. He's got to stay on the outside. He's got to use his footwork. He's got to bounce around the ring. He's going to make.
I hate bouncing.
He's got to keep away from that power that Mike Tyson does possess, because we know that he is probably one of the most vicious knockout artists we've ever seen in the boxing ring. And Jake doesn't want to be another victim on his highlight reel. So he wants to play it smart. He's got a good team around him that have probably coached him into, this is how you need to control distance. This is how you need to stay away from that. If you get cornered, this is how you escape. He would have been training and drilling that over and over and over. The last thing he's going to be doing is walking out there and trying to knock out Mike Tyson in the first round.
I think he's going to be able to 100% agree with you on that. I think his game plan, and we're going to see him running around. He has said that. He said that from the beginning. My plan is to run around and tire out Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson has said from the beginning, my plan is to get up close and get him in, like, pretty much just knock him out with one punch, which we all know that he can do because he does have the power there. The question is, what will we see in those first few rounds if it makes it that far? I do think we're going to probably see Jake Paul running around, because if Tyson can't catch him, he can't hit him, and if Jake Paul just wants to get it through a few rounds, absolutely packed stadium we are seeing here. I must add, it's just like watching the Super Bowl, and I'm so proud of boxing to be putting on this event despite seeing a bit of a disappointing result in the last fight.
Yeah, well, I mean, Jake is the taller fighter. He's at 6'1", Mike Tyson being at 5'10". The reach as well, Jake Paul having a 5-inch reach advantage, which is very significant. But Mike has always fought people that has been taller and bigger than him. He knows how to do that. He knows how to use his footwork to get in close. But I think it relies on the speed and that bobbing style that he would employ to be able to find his positions to get in close and to land those devastating strikes. I don't think that, from what I saw in that Roy Jones Jr. fight and what I've seen in his training, that agility and that ability to implement that style, I don't see it being there past that first round.
Just an apology to everyone for seeing the bottom of my laptop. I can't fix it.
I think if you move your phone back and forth, it'll refocus on you because you're a bit blurry at the moment.
Oh, am I? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see what I can do about moving that. I can do it like that.
Mr. Peanut says, talk about Tyson's dead daughter again. Jesus, Cornerman needs to remind him.
No,
now,
don't
Mike,
do that. That's horrible.
Just because Jake was making jokes about your dead daughter is no reason to forget. It's just an exhibition match. Yeah, so that probably would fire him up, and I don't think it would be it wouldn't be a boxing match at that point. It would be a let's try to stop Tyson from killing somebody.
That's true.
Neil's Index, Brian Parliament says Tyson throws punches in bunches. First 2 rounds will be scary for Jake. Absolutely agree with that. And the first round especially. First 2 rounds, Mr. Peanut says, the 2-fisted rounds, potato. Okay. And Neil's index finger says, the fight will start someday. This is where they make their money, Brian. This is the hype. They've got the world watching. Everyone is here and ready to go. The stadium's
and we've got Roy Jones Jr. as well. Heads up. So, yeah.
Yeah, so there will be this is part of the show, and these walkouts I expect to take at least 15 minutes.
I'm excited. Take all the time you want. I've been looking forward to this fight for a very, very long time. Obviously, it was delayed substantially due to Mike Tyson's health condition, and he lost about 9 kilos. And that, again, is another reason why Jake Paul, would have an advantage today. We're now seeing a bit of replay with Jake Paul's previous fights. Now, one thing to note 100% is a lot of those last ones, Tommy Fury, but he hasn't fought. I want to see Jake Paul fight a proper boxer in their prime.
Yeah, that's not going to happen unless there's a big payday involved.
I want to watch that. That's what I want to watch. And I'm just a bit disappointed that Mike Tyson isn't a bit younger, because that would have been great to watch. It would have been incredibly.
Would you rather see Jake Paul fight a legitimate boxer, or would you rather see him fight Mike Tyson?
I'd like to see a fair fight with Mike Tyson, and I think, I would, and I do think also, when I say fair, I kind of wish that Mike didn't have the health scare that he had. I think that's unfortunate. We're just seeing a bit of footage here again. His knockout. Was it Ty Woodley who he knocked out, which looked incredibly fake to everybody watching, including myself. I mean, it's a pretty interesting. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. He's warming up. Jake Paul currently warming up in his room. They're talking about the delay in the boxing from July in this match. In terms of what would I like to see? He's put on a lot of weight for this fight, and it doesn't look good on him. As in, it just doesn't look natural. I'm going to say that. It doesn't look natural to me. Look at his brother's build. His brother's completely different build. Just looks unnatural.
Yeah, but this is what is exciting about that. They've built this matchup, and you've got, on paper, you could say okay, we've got an unranked boxer who's 10-1, and he's fought guys that are not haven't been at the elite status, and it's like, okay, that's your first guy. Then you've got a retired guy who hasn't fought in years, and he's coming back, and it's like, why would we be interested in this? But then when you look at the way that they've been able to market this, and it's like they've created that animosity towards Jake Paul, and they've got the hero side story for Mike Tyson. That's where people's interests come from the people, from the characters. And Mike Tyson having that history of devastating knockouts, and just being a very interesting person. You ever watch an interview with him, the guy has some very strange and unique looks on the world, and he's had some amazing experiences, and he's obviously had millions and millions of dollars, and then he's lost it all, and he's got involved in all sorts of crazy businesses, and I think he's doing marijuana farms at the moment, and he's he's an interesting character for sure. But him stepping into the ring is always going to draw interest, regardless as to who he's going to be fighting. But they've gone with not only just anybody, but somebody that people absolutely love to hate and despise, and that is Jake Paul, with his big YouTube following and such a notoriety of being the infamous figure in the world, with people either fans of him, but the majority of people just want to see him get knocked out, and they want to see him get knocked out by somebody who has the most devastating knockout highlight reel ever. So that's where their interest is being drawn here. But we'll see how this plays out. it is going to be a long intro to get this started. I wouldn't be surprised if they play the American national anthem at some point.
God bless America. I absolutely love one of the things I've seen in social media this week preceding the fight is, despite your religion, despite your background, despite where in the country you're from, we all want to see Jake Paul get a proper knockout by Mike Tyson. I'm looking at it as if I were the director of this story and I wanted as many people to talk about it for as long as possible. The storyline, YouTuber with 4 years boxing defeats Mike Tyson. I won't even bother going into his record, but, defeats Mike Tyson. That's probably the better story that would sell more papers than Mike Tyson beats YouTuber. I don't know. So that's kind of like, I am kind of looking at it that, as we mentioned earlier, probably Jake Paul by TKO, that we've got a bit of a clip of the ear here. Round
like
3,
obviously you're not a fan of Jake Paul, and you're probably representing the majority of the audience that's watching. But what is it about him that turns you off?
Well, after watching the documentary, as someone who absolutely loves boxing, I had a very strong dislike for Jake Paul. But after watching the documentary and identifying with him, like the athlete that he has become, I will say it, the athlete he has become, the immense love and passion he has for boxing that I also share, and the fact that he's really heavily promoted with his own money, but he does have a lot. But he has heavily promoted women's boxing, and he's really, even in the documentary, he included them, and he's redone Amanda Serrano's gym and did a mural for her of herself there. My intense dislike for him, as you may recall from years ago when I kept challenging him to a boxing fight when I probably could have beaten him back then. And I'm going to call it now. Jake Paul, if you want to fight, you give me some time to get ready. I'll fight you. It doesn't feel as good saying that now when I see how big he's become. But anyway, it came from the suicide forest. And I'm pretty sure he's just, I think there were some other things as well. But I think it's important to bring as much positivity to the world as you can have. And I just think, making a joke out of people's suicide, it's possibly, one of the hardest things in life, to lose someone who, in that manner, and for someone to be in such a place that's how they go, is incredibly tough. So to make a joke of that, that's just crossing the line for me. I do acknowledge that he's matured a lot. Maturity is probably the thing watching this documentary. I don't think the Jake Paul, he mentioned, as a lot of people do, which I kind of look differently at, but that he went and did a magical mushroom trip or some sort of drug-assisted trip that opened up his mind, and he began seeing the world in a different manner. You know what? If that means someone who used to make a joke out of suicide becomes someone who recognizes that and, realizes that it's horrible and would never do that, then that's a positive thing for the world, because we got someone with a huge manner of influence who's gained that additional insight, right? So I guess that's where I've come from, and what I've seen now is him change, and people can change, people can become, who they weren't before. And I think that's what I've seen a bit more maturity from him. I mean, obviously not so mature that it didn't stop him from literally stepping on Mike Tyson's feet yesterday during the weigh-in. But I will say that's what changed a bit for me. And I think, everyone makes mistakes and you can learn from them. I think I don't know if he issued a proper apology now, but that was just drawing the line for me. What about yourself? Where did your hate come from? And we've got them, they are singing the American anthem.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Brian Parliament saying there, you called it, bro. I knew the American anthem was coming out at some point, and there it is. They're doing it right now. The patriotism for the United States is very high, and we love to see it. It's great to love your country, and supported, and most of the major sporting events, they'll get the people behind it, and everyone stands united with the flag. So it's always a good thing. But it is kind of funny to say, hey, we're having a boxing match. We're going to try to knock each other out here. Let's sing the anthem. Let's, it's like, but
yeah.
But
the Americans are on their feet right now. I'm sure it sounds really good. I can't hear it, but we will be listening to it later after the live stream.
I'll go back to
it looks like she's doing a good job.
Yeah.
Sorry, my head wasn't in the camera before.
I did a little bit too close, but that's okay. We'll go back to this one. But no,
it's all right. Who cares? It's just my face.
Yeah, for both of the guys, Jake and Logan, I don't know a lot about them. I've never watched them on YouTube or anything like that, but I was aware of them just from seeing bits and pieces and hearing things. So I never had like a strong feeling one way or the other towards them. But respecting what they do in terms of their ability to market events and get attention and notoriety, is impressive. It's very significant. And then to be able to translate that into putting on big events and selling that and saying not only, okay, we're big on YouTube and we've got a big audience, but getting the audience to then move over and purchase a pay-per-view or be interested enough to watch you fight in a boxing match. That's something that's very unique and very skillful. And for both guys to be able to do that, and not only have they been able to fight some of the legends in boxing. I mean, Logan Paul fought Floyd Mayweather. I mean, so they have the ability to go out and make things happen. I think that to me is very impressive. I don't know a lot about the guys' personalities. From what I've seen, that you do get a lot of the frat boy kind of attitude, but I guess that's the age that they're in at this point in time, and that's what drives them, and that's what motivates them to do these sorts of things. You have to have that level of self-belief that you can make things happen. If you were talking to somebody and they said, yeah, I'm gonna put on the world's biggest boxing match and I'm gonna fight Mike Tyson in a sold-out stadium and millions of people are gonna watch, you're like, you're delusional, you're an idiot, you're complete fantasy land. But then
I'm gonna jump right in.
Yeah, go on.
We just got the stats up right now. So we got 6'1" versus 5'10". Jake Paul weighing in at 227.2 pounds. Mike Tyson weighing in at 228.4 pounds. As Matt mentioned before, we have a 76-inch reach from Jake Paul, and that's a 5-inch reach advantage over Mike Tyson. And the age, as mentioned before, 27 years old is Jake Paul and 58 is Mike Tyson. Sorry, do continue your train of thought. I'm sorry I so rudely interjected, but I have to get the stats out.
Yeah, it's the tail of the tape. That's right. There'll only be another 40 minutes before they actually get to the ring and start fighting.
14-ounce gloves. Sorry, I lied. I'm going to keep talking. 14-ounce gloves, 2-minute rounds. And the fight, what does that mean?
No 3 knockdown rule?
No, fight official after 4 rounds. So it's not official if it's before.
No.
I've never seen that before.
If there's an unintentional foul, then they can go to the judges' scorecards as long as 4 rounds have been recorded.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Because if it's first round and somebody gets an eye poke and they can't continue, then it's a no contest. But if they've got 4 rounds in the books, then they can go to the scorecards. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it depends on the foul. Obviously, it has to be unintentional. You can't be like 4 rounds up and then just start like punching the dude in the balls.
That's funny. I didn't think about that. Maybe if I fight Jake Paul, that's what I do.
Low blow. Yeah. But in terms of
low blow.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. In terms of their ability to sell out big matches, and I mean, we're here right now doing the commentary on it, and I haven't commentated on any other boxing matches. It just shows you their ability to captivate an audience and play that bad guy and do it. It is difficult to be the bad guy because you've got to be bad enough that people will hate you, but not bad enough that you're actually doing something that's really horrible. So you've got to be, it usually comes down to that personality, and people can just have that arrogance that people are like, this dude is so full of himself, I just want to see him get knocked down a few pegs. And I think Jake plays that to perfection. He's so full of self-confidence and I guess you could say arrogant style of mentality that other people are like, this guy, the things that he says that he's going to do are completely ridiculous. But at the end of the day, he is the one that's going out making these things happen, and he's the man of the moment right now. He's got millions of people watching him perform in a match, which he's the favorite for.
I just don't know. Isn't it funny to consider how Jake Paul today is going to be fighting Mike Tyson? How did this young boy, like from my memory, I just remember him on YouTube, like long ago, turn into this? He's arriving now in a, what is that? What is that? I've never seen this in my life before.
He's driving
what
out
is he
in some sort of green car.
He is being driven in a green car. Alongside him is his brother Logan Paul. It appears to be something out of Back to the Future. It's a very interesting automobile. As someone with a big background in security, I personally would think it would be a great gig to be driving that right now. Kind of watching out for the security team here. That'd be quite an interesting thing. A commentary here from Neil. He said, coming out in a car, cringe. Yeah, it looks like, oh, no, that's not cool. Not cool. There is a pigeon in the back of the car. There is a pigeon in the cage. This is not cool. That pigeon, I believe, could be the same pigeon that Jake Paul bought for Mike Tyson, attempted to give to Mike Tyson. Tyson said that he would feed it to his falcon, which was a joke. He just couldn't take it back to his home on the plane. I believe that's what it is, but I don't feel happy that there's a pigeon there. There's a story with Mike Tyson. He loves pigeons. And there's a story that, one of his first fights was a bully who brutally murdered a pigeon. And I don't know if that's what Jake Paul was referencing here, but I just think that's a bit dangerous to be traveling there with a pigeon. And it's quite funny too, though. How do you feel about the pigeon there?
Well, I saw the cage. I didn't see that there was a bird inside. I thought maybe it was going to be a dove or something that might release it out to the audience.
I'm going to have to put my speaker on. It appears he's coming out to the song "Can You Feel the Air and the Love Tonight." Let me just put that on.
Oh, I can hear it. Yeah, it
Mike
is.
From the jungle,
Yeah, it's Phil Collins.
That's an interesting choice. From the Lion King.
Is it from the Lion King?
Isn't it?
I don't know, but it's got that bit in the middle with the drums that everyone loves.
Oh, that one. Yeah, no, I'm singing a different song too.
I think that's what they're waiting for.
Oh, God. This is already a spectacle of the ages. It's the one that's been in the recent X-Men video. The crowd are on their feet. I can't believe how many people are watching a boxing match. Again, as Matt has said, that just shows, Jake Paul is acting like Jake Paul right now. I can't believe I'm watching this. He's come out. He's acting like Jake Paul, as you would imagine. I actually thought he would be walking out a bit more professional than that. He just looks a bit silly. He's wearing some sort of white sparkly jacket. That's cool, but the way he was acting and gesturing to me was a bit silly. I already don't want to watch it anymore. I can't watch it. Matt, you talk.
He's basically wearing a silver sparkly spacesuit, and he is taking in the moment at this point in time. He knows the world is watching. He's milking it for all of the moments that he possibly can. But as soon as he stepped foot into the ring, you can see his demeanor has changed a bit. He's switching on to the athlete side. And always good. I think it's always good for an athlete to enjoy the walkout, enjoy the moment, enjoy. This is everyone is eyes on you, and some people can crumble under that pressure, and some people will rise to it. And so Jake obviously enjoying that moment, coming out in some sort of green car, and with his brother Logan there. But as soon as he stepped, yes. Yeah, and a pigeon maybe. But as soon as he stepped foot into the ring, you saw immediately his face drop from that smile, and it went all serious business. His head went down, and you can see him immediately starting to run through his game plan, probably mentally, as to how this fight is going to take place. And Drew says that the In the Air Tonight is from the Hangover movie with the scene with Tyson. Did you see it? Yeah, but that song's been out for a long time, so it may originally have come out for.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. I know.
But that is a good moment in that movie.
I will say I also noted what Matt has mentioned there. there was a bit of a change with Jake Paul once he had entered the ring. As an athlete, he did look way more serious and more in the zone once he was in the ring, which is good to see. The way he entered in the car, he again looked like he was enjoying the moment. Once he exited the car, he did some very silly gesturing. He just looked silly. But then once he got in the ring, he got serious again. Yes, like Neil has mentioned, he's really rooting for Tyson now. I'm more concerned about the welfare of the pigeon. I don't know where it's gone. I don't know if it had earmuffs on, but it's quite a loud situation. I mean, that pigeon could die of shock. I think pigeons are very delicate creatures.
Are you sure it was a live, real pigeon?
Unless it's robotic, it looks pretty real to me.
What if it was
looks pretty
a
real.
stuffed one? I didn't see it at all.
Maybe I imagined it. No, there was a pigeon in the back there. I believe it was the same one that Paul had before, and I think it's crazy that he's done that. I think that surprised me. So I wasn't expecting a pigeon. That's next level. I don't think they've ever had a real live animal in a walkout. Rest in peace, my dog Miffy. I would have loved her to come, but I wouldn't have with her ears. Like, it's a loud place for an animal to be.
Did you say?
Like, if you put a rabbit into that, the rabbit would die.
How would a pigeon wear him up?
Oh my god! There he is. He's looking a bit nervous.
Genesis is a great band, absolutely. Yeah, no, I agree with you, Drew. And
Tyson is walking out right now. He's walking out alone. I can't hear what song he's got. I think he's just nearly tripped over, and he's got a very interesting look on his face.
Has he put pants on yet?
I'm gonna laugh so hard if neither of them wear pants.
This song that he's picked is
what song has he got?
It's some rap song, and I can't even hear it. It's a very mumble rap song.
Isn't it Eminem?
I can't hear it. I can't hear Eminem at all.
I can't hear it either. Oh, sorry.
It's one of those mumble rappers.
I'm surprised he hasn't got a better song. I don't know who he used to walk out to, but he's looking old. My Netflix has stopped.
Yeah, so did mine. Oh no. I hope not everybody's has dropped out at the same time.
Oh, maybe this is the thing. Maybe this is what they're going to do. They're going to drop out everyone's. Mine's dropped.
Yeah, I'm going to refresh.
Maybe. I'm not going to hit refresh. That's too risky for me. I'm going to hit
okay, mine's refreshed and it's back.
Woo. Oh, lucky you. Oh, I don't know if I want to hit refresh. So I've hit live. It says you're watching live. I'm going to hit play.
I got Tyson walking into the ring.
All right, I'm going to hit refresh. And now it says envoy overloaded. No, shouldn't I hit refresh? Oh, thank you, God.
Are you back?
Oh, we got the red circle chasing its tail.
Oh, you're not missing anything. It's just Tyson jumping around in his corner.
I regret refreshing. I shouldn't have done that.
No, you should have refreshed. It wasn't going to load. So Mike Tyson looking very serious. He looks like his clothes have been half thrown on at the very last minute. I think he was planning on walking out naked and somebody forced him to put on a shirt.
Yeah, it does look like that. I can't see anything, so I'm just going to leave the camera here and sort out my technical issue while listening to you commentate. So
let's all look at Izzy while she tries to figure out how to do it.
I would love to. I know that I did have it on my phone, and I was accessing it on my phone before. So that's the backup. I'm just entering it again. It is saying it's overloaded.
Yeah, you're not missing anything. They're just doing the fighter announcement, so you got plenty of time.
Come on, God. Yeah, tell us what are you seeing?
Well, Mike Tyson looking serious in the corner. Jake Paul hitting his fists together. He's ready for this fight. It's going to be amazing. They're introducing the judges at the moment. This I wouldn't be surprised if they go through a long list of sponsors that they have to thank for the event. So we're getting the referee. The referee's being introduced. Probably every
judge
will be
introduced. Tell me if you see the pigeon, would you, Matt?
Well, maybe the pigeon with earmuffs.
I do think if we approach the fight and it's not loading on my laptop, I'm probably going to attempt it on my phone. I might even begin to do that soon because it's too risky. But go ahead, tell the world what you're seeing.
Plenty of time. They're still going through the. All right, they're about to do the introductions for Jake Paul, fighting out of the blue corner.
I'm not missing this. Let me see if I can get it on my phone.
It's fine. If you need to drop off and you want to watch it on your phone, that's all good. Has anyone else's stream dropped out? Like mine dropped out at the same time as Izzy, so I think maybe they did a refresh or something. We've got
Can you
Jake
still
Paul
hear
being
me?
introduced right now. I can, yes.
Matt sucks. Oh, whoops. No, just kidding. Sorry, Matt. I didn't mean that. Oh, yes,
That's
we're
all
back.
right.
We're back. We're back. Okay, we're back. We're back. I can see what's happening. Thank you, God. Please, God, don't let this happen in the fight. All right, so we've got Mike Tyson bouncing up and down. He doesn't look ready, does he, Matt? He does look disheveled, and he doesn't look like he's got his clothes on. It just is a different presentation to what we got
You
from.
will need to hit the live button because you're probably about 30 seconds behind me. Because they just started Mike Tyson's introduction now. Mike Tyson looks old.
He looks old. Far out. He looks tired, and he doesn't look good. I reckon maybe he looks under the weather, and I think maybe he was under the weather, but he was like, "No, I can't pull out again." I hope we don't see him. I actually like.
This is not a good look.
It's not a good
Mike
look.
Tyson right here.
No,
he looks exhausted.
He doesn't look
his
like
body
he wants
looks
to fight.
fatigued.
I've never seen him look like that. He doesn't have the fire that he had in his eyes last night.
It's definitely different to the old Mike Tyson that used to walk in and wouldn't take his eyes off his opponent. It looks like he doesn't want to be there.
Ooh, yeah, it's a bit
looking
disappointing
down
so
at the
far.
ground.
I wouldn't really want to see. I don't want to watch this already. Like, I don't want to watch him fight. He just looks like an old, tired guy.
Sad. He looks sad.
And he looks sad.
That's not a good look for a fighter when they're about to go in and they're 10 seconds away from starting a fight.
I don't like what I'm seeing already. Everyone, the crowd is on their feet. Incredibly packed stadium. Here we go. I want you to obey my commands at all times.
We're just getting the referee going through the last minute instructions here. Both guys going back to the corner. We're about to see the start to the main event. Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. They're about to step out. Mike Tyson looking tired, looking sad, looking down and disheveled. Jake Paul bouncing around. He is ready to go. Not a good look for Mike Tyson physically at this point, but the match hasn't started yet. We'll see what happens in this very first round. Mike Tyson's best opportunity to win the fight is going to be in the next 2 minutes.
I don't even want to see it. It doesn't look like, it doesn't look like the Mike Tyson we want to see right now. But maybe he's sad because he's going to bring that darkness out.
Maybe he's sad because that pigeon was in the cage.
Without earmuffs. Here we go.
All right.
8 rounds of 2 minutes. Tyson is fast. Tyson is fast. That looked fake.
Do you want to do this? Do you want to do this first round? I'll do the second.
Sure. I mean, look, we've just seen 2 really obvious misses by Paul, where it looked like Tyson wasn't throwing full power, like he was holding back. He's coming through now with an overhand. Paul is, again, maintaining the distance. It looks like he's running away, as we predicted he would be. They're in a clinch now. So far, coming out, the first 10 seconds was unimpressive. It didn't look real. It didn't look like other fighter was really fighting. It looked like a bit scripted there. Paul actually exhibiting a bit of decent boxing technique there with his jab. He's actually kind of sat a bit low, which is great, especially with Tyson coming in with the uppercut. That's a protective measure, reducing the impact of an uppercut by doing that, which is great. Paul is just really on the outside of the ring here. He's kind of just trying to tire Mike out, as we predicted. Mike did come in with a lot more speed than I thought, which I was really excited about. That is something I wanted to see. He does seem to kind of be holding back a bit, but he came out with a lot of speed, which I think probably would have shocked Paul. He has been sparring with someone of the exact same build as Paul in preparation for this fight that we saw in the 3rd episode of the documentary. And I think he's looking good. There are some movements here that just seem a bit odd to me. I'm not sure if you're seeing that too, so I'm interested in hearing your opinion. And it's a very interesting fight so far. I guess I'm just seeing some head movement. For example, I'm seeing some head movement from Tyson in relation to no attack from Paul, which is just a bit like, yeah, it just seems a bit funny. Okay, what did you think of that first round? We've just hit the bell. Nothing
Yeah, I think
substantial.
that the first 10 seconds there, Tyson threw a whistling punch, which just missed Jake, and you saw Jake react like, "Oh my god, that thing would have killed me if it landed." You saw him step back, and he was like, "I need to make sure that I keep my distance here." He did for the rest of the round. I think Tyson actually may have spent his load there. He's breathing heavy already in the corner. He did look good with his movement, but he slowed down significantly in that second minute, and it's only a 2-minute round. He threw a lot of big power punches in that very first minute, but the second minute he sat back. He looked tired almost straight away. But I think he's holding back, and in what he's going to be doing for the rest of the fight, he's just looking for that one punch knockout. And we'll see how Jake can exploit that. We're going into the second round here. Jake's probably going to be implementing that same game plan throughout the entire fight, keeping the distance, staying away from Mike Tyson's power. Mike looking quite slow in his movement with his feet. He started being very flat-footed towards the end of that round. He's on his toes now at the start of the second round. Jake staying back. He's got his weight shifted with his hips to automatically pull backwards as soon as he's thrown a punch, able to move away from Tyson's movement forwards towards him there. He's keeping distance quite nicely. He's stepping in with a nice jab and a nice overhand right. I think that's the punch that he thinks will win him the fight. Sorry. Mike landing a nice left hook on the exit there. Jake trying to move in and out. He's showboating a little bit. But this will be the story of the fight. Jake Paul wants to stay on the outside. He wants to land those peppering jabs, and he's looking for that big overhand right that he's hoping will get a significant reaction from Tyson. Tyson's sitting back, doing some head movement. He's going to be looking for that one punch knockout. He's going to be hoping to catch Jake on his exit or on his entry into those big jabs and maybe that overhand right. They're clinching up right now against the ropes. Mike taking very deep breaths. He's breathing out of his mouth already. It's only halfway through the second round. Jake is employing his game plan very effectively. He's keeping his distance. He's throwing a good jab. He double jabbed there with a head to the body, and he's looking straight at Mike Tyson's chest. Very good management of distance so far from Jake Paul. Every time Mike Tyson moves forward, Jake Paul is moving out of the way and getting his feet underneath him and making sure that he is at a safe distance and keeping himself away from those looping, devastating right hands that Mike Tyson is trying to throw. I've only really seen Mike throwing a very short left jab and a big overhand right, but apart from that, he hasn't really done anything else effectively. And if he continues to just throw those two strikes, it's going to be a long night for him. He's going to get hit with a lot of jabs and a lot of overhand rights from Jake Paul, who I think is now 2-0 up ahead on the cards.
There is a compression sleeve on Mike's right leg, so around his knee area. So we're not sure what the injury is there. Well, I'm not. Do you happen to know what that is?
I don't know, but
might be an area of weakness for Mike.
Right. And Arm Wrestling News, who is Pradeep Singh, has jumped in to say, I think Mike gets KO'd. I also think that. So does Izzy. We've put money on the line for that. And I think that him being in the third round already and looking tired, he hasn't been able to land anything significant.
He's going to bite the ear. This round is going to be, he's angry now.
I don't think he's going to get close enough to be able to bite the ear. I think Jake he's managing his feet very well. I don't think Tyson has the speed to be able to close the distance effectively. He's waiting on Jake Paul. He's waiting on Jake to come close to him and trying to catch him on his entry or his exit.
Oh, well, how would you score those first two rounds? I mean, personally, I'm seeing a bit more from Mike now. He's come out, opened the round with a strong left arm there. He's just throwing a few straights here. He's counter punching to Jake. Again, it's a bit of a, in comparison to what we watched with the women, obviously, okay, Paul is coming in, throwing a bit more closer now, and his game plan of, I guess, tiring Mike out and then coming in is kind of doing that now. But it's obviously, as an audience member, it's better to watch, an exchange of blows. That's what we want to see. and fine technique. But it so far has been Jake Paul dancing around and not many close blows. We want to see Mike Tyson up close. And obviously that's something that Jake Paul doesn't want to see. I'm not really seeing anything substantial. Jake putting up his guard, attempting a few shots there, all that haven't landed. Mike Tyson keeping a nice close guard, just as he was taught by Cuz. A bit of body movement from Mike. Left and right. Looks like my prediction of the ear bite just won't happen. He's just not close enough. Jake with a nice uppercut there to the body, did land a nice uppercut. Jake looking serious right now. He's just looking like a boxer right now, which is what I want to see, to be honest. Or a few headshots there onto Tyson, but again, nothing that substantial and nothing that would really rock Tyson. A little less of an exchange that I would have predicted to see. I would have predicted to see Paul being a bit more ballsy, but he's not. He's just really, really keeping we're talking 2 meters. He's not even attempting to get up close, which is a bit disappointing. At the moment they're about a meter apart. Tyson dancing a bit. That was it. I don't even know how it's good. Tyson looking tired now, breathing heavy, about to sit down. There wasn't really much to see in that round.
I disagree with you, Izzy. I think that there were some big shots landed by Jake Paul there. He landed a lot of good shots. He stepped in and
I didn't see those, Matt.
He went to move back, and then Tyson was expecting Jake to disappear as he has been, and then he countered that. He came forward again and landed a body shot and then a left hook over the top.
When did that happen?
It was about the 40-second mark. They'll probably replay it right here. But Jake Paul landing a lot of shots throughout that round. Mike, I don't think, landed any significant strikes at all. He's looking tired. He's looking old. He's looking weathered. You see that right there. That is not a good look for Mike Tyson. He got staggered right there. He is on the ropes here. I think a prediction of the 4th round being a TKO may come true in this next round. He's looking.
Should have gone the 5th round.
No, this is the 4th coming up right now.
He did land a few good shots there.
Yes, that's right. So we're going to see Jake very keen to get this started. He knows that Mike Tyson is tired. He was able to stagger him in that last round. Mike on wobbly legs, he almost tripped over his own feet just then. And Jake is going to look for his moment. He knows the early part of the round is the most dangerous for him. He's going to look to try to land a nice jab and get some more work onto Tyson before he can throw that big right hand. But very good movement from Jake Paul. He's stepping in and out. He's able to control the distance of this match. Mike Tyson really isn't able to be effective at all with his striking. He is waiting on Jake Paul to come to him. And Jake is not doing that. He has the 5-inch reach advantage. He's going to hang back there and just keep peppering with jabs and overhand rights. And credit to him, he's doing it very effectively. We are 1 minute into this 4th round here. Mike Tyson getting a little bit wobbly off of that left hook from Jake Paul there. And Jake looking very comfortable, very controlled. He's measured. He's finding his shots. He's finding the home for his jab very comfortably. And Mike is really just hanging on at this point. He has got no offense coming from his side. He is standing stock still with no foot movement at all from him in the center of the ring, getting hit with jabs over and over. Jake switching it up with body shots from the right hand. This is all Jake Paul at this point in time. Mike Tyson, I don't think, has thrown a punch that has landed in this round. He's got some good head movement there from Tyson, but he needs to have an offense going as well. Not seeing anything coming from the Tyson side of things. Jake Paul cruising around, doing whatever he wants in this fight. He is the dictator in this. He is the ring general. He has set the distance. He has tired Mike out. Mike has been wobbled a couple of times throughout this so far. The 4th round is just coming up to an end here. Mike Tyson taking some deep breaths. He's trying to get his footwork going, but he's going in the opposite direction. He needs to move forwards, not backwards. And Jake Paul shaking the arms out. He is dominating this fight at this point in time.
Jake Paul definitely looking stronger as time goes on. I've made my screen full screen now, so I can catch a better glimpse of things. He did land a few good blows there, but what Matt was saying, which is sadly the case for Mike Tyson there, is, I mean, that boxing was really, really great from Jake in that round. He was just exactly the type of fighter I don't enjoy. Just hanging out in that distance, using his long reach and peppering Mike. He landed a pretty good straight there. Let's see. I think we're about to see it in the replay now.
Mark Wine asking why not charge him. He wouldn't have the energy, I don't think. And if he charged him, I think Jake is using his footwork effectively enough to keep out of the way of that.
Great right body shot there from Jake Paul. That probably would have Mike would have felt it.
This is your round, is he?
Okay.
You're looking
There's
sad.
The bell. I'm just sad. No ears have been bitten off. But yes, we're in round 5. I'm surprised it's gone this far. Mike looking a little bit more energetic now. Maybe this was part of his plan. Jake still rolling around him. He's gone for a body shot there. He's landed it. Mike trying a bit more with the body movement, a bit more counter-punching here from Mike, trying with the footwork. Is it effective? A little bit more than the last round. Massive overhand from Jake Paul. Didn't seem to quite land. He's gone in with a jab through Mike's guard. Mike's caught that one. Mike's catching quite a few. As we said, maybe we should have gone around 5. Straight to the face there. Over to you, Matt.
He's getting hit significantly now. Jake Paul is taking over here. He's landing effective shots. He's landed probably 4 significant strikes that have popped Mike's head back. A couple of jabs. He's more confident now. He's standing closer to Mike Tyson. He's in that danger zone, but he feels comfortable because he's throwing the strikes and landing them, whereas Tyson isn't really throwing any offense at all. He's standing and waiting. I think he's exhausted. He's probably fighting his own body at this point in time. He's thrown one left hook, which was blocked by Jake. A lot of the audience reacting, thinking that was Mike Tyson's moment, but it was blocked. And Mike Tyson standing stock still in the center of the ring with his guard up, not throwing any offense. He's waiting on Jake Paul, and Jake Paul is more than happy to sit on the outside and just keep peppering him with long-range jabs. Tyson moving forwards there with a left hook, which was easily evaded by Jake Paul. Mike Tyson, at this point in time, 58 years old, I don't think he has the legs or the cardio, the ability to close the distance and trap Jake Paul in any sort of danger. This will be a shutout here if there's not a knockout for Jake Paul.
Yeah, I think Mike Tyson's biggest success so far has just been missing a few of the blows with his body movement over. Has he landed anything great? No. Has Jake Paul landed anything great? Yeah, he's landed a few. So that's a bit disappointing so far to see. There was something you said. My thing has landed a bit, is lagging a bit. So I've had to make my screen a bit smaller again. It's quite small. But in that round, I thought Mike did begin it a bit more energetically. What did you think?
Yeah, no, first 20, yeah, exactly. The first 20 seconds of each round, as with every fight, you'll see the person who is struggling with their cardio, that first 20 seconds, they'll usually have recovered enough to have some sort of burst of energy, which we saw from Mike there. And he did have some good foot movement and he looked energetic, but he didn't throw any offense with that. And then Jake Paul easily cruising through this fight. He is doing exactly what we were predicting, using his footwork, using his long-range jab, keeping Tyson away from him. Tyson looking again at the start of this 6th round. He's recovered from that 1 minute that he had in the corner. We'll see after about 30 seconds, he'll start to slow down. You see his footwork right now is bouncy and his hands look quite good. After 30 seconds, he starts to slow down. He starts to stand stock still in the middle of the ring, waiting on Jake Paul. And Jake Paul's just going to come in and out, just keep landing shots. Yeah. That's all he has to do here. It's 6 rounds into 8 rounds. So minute and a half in, you can see it's the 35-second mark into this round. Tyson slowing down. His footwork has stopped. He tried to come forward there, and it was so slow that Jake was easily able to run rings around him. Jake showboating a little bit. He's throwing the hands up high, getting Tyson to react. And
nice body shot.
A good long-range body shot from Jake Paul there. And Tyson, again, not throwing any offense. His body movement is good. He is evading shots every now and then, but he is just throwing nothing back at all. He's so far away from Jake. Jake having that 5-inch reach advantage. He is able to keep the distance comfortably. His weight is in his hips is shifted backwards. So if he sees any movement forwards from Mike Tyson at all, he's able to evade that comfortably. And Mike Tyson not having any answers for Jake Paul at this point in time.
Yeah, really interesting not to see Tyson attempt to throw any punches. I would like to see them get up close, as we've all been wanting to see. In the replay for round 5, we saw he did land one decent uppercut, and then we saw Jake antagonizing him, pointing out his tongue, sticking his tongue out at Tyson in typical Paul style. It's interesting.
So we're just coming up to the last moments of round number 6. It has played out as pretty much the other rounds have. Jake Paul able to keep the distance and land lots of long-range shots. Mike Tyson having no answers, no offense. The only way he's going to change this fight is if he throws caution to the wind and just absolutely runs at Jake Paul and just tries to corner him or do something to get this fighting close. His arms look about half the length of Jake Paul's at this point. He's not throwing any offensive punches at all. I think he's just waiting for the paycheck at the end of the 8th round, to be honest.
That is what it looks like. It is a bit boring, especially after what we saw with women. It is to note, Jake is just moving around the ring like a professional boxer. He has put a lot of work in and he's fighting well.
Mark Klein says, Mike's practice did look good, but why not now? And is Mike saving energy? You can always look great in the training room, but when it comes to the real day and you're fighting the opponent is in your face, things change. And training is completely different to the actual experience of fighting, as Izzy can tell you.
Yeah, and I also wonder about if he's feeling sick or something as well. Like he has had, health issues in the past 9 months, and it looks like he could be. The way he presented in the, standing in the ring, it sure looked like he was under the weather. So here we go, round 7 of 8. We are nearly 30 seconds in. They're a little bit closer than usual, which is lovely to see. Jake throwing a lot, few of them landing. Not much counter action from Tyson there.
Good right hand from Jake Paul there, stepping in, following up the jab. He's comfortable now. You can see he's found the distance. He knows he's winning this fight. He's moving in and out, and occasionally he's staying in the pocket just for an extra shot and then moving out, which is catching Tyson. Tyson standing stock still again. His feet are basically planted in cement at this point in time. He's moving very nicely to the side, bobbing and weaving, which doesn't do anything for you offensively. He's putting all of his energy into his defense, but he needs to have offense if he wants to have any chance of winning this fight.
Yeah. We have not seen. I just want to see Mike Tyson's punching power. Where is it? Where is he at? He looked quite knocked then. He's getting quite a few body shots. A nice left hook by Paul. I just want to see him throw some punches.
I think that Jake is he's settling in. He's still sort of searching for the knockout if it's going to come, but he's only got 20 seconds left of this round 7 and then 2 minutes of round 8. Tyson does look
nice combo
and weary.
Great combo by Paul there to Tyson.
Absolutely, yes. So Tyson moving forwards finally, but walking straight into a big two-punch combination from Jake Paul. And Mark Klein says it's not the Tyson fight style that I knew. He is 58 years old. He is. I don't think he has it at this point in time, and he's staggering back to the corner, looking like a man who is 87 years old. He's really breathing heavy. I think all he wants to do is just finish this out, not get knocked out. He's in pain in the corner. I think the last thing he wants is for this to go any longer than one more round, and then he's going to go chill out in the back. But I don't see him winning this fight in any which way. The first 20 seconds of this last round, if he manages to catch Jake, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Didn't even bite an ear off. I think, exactly what you're saying there. Look, we're just watching now a series of hooks and blows from Jake Paul onto Mike Tyson, but he just looks tired.
Mark Klein is 61. You're probably in better shape than Mike Tyson is at this point in time, Mark.
I was just surprised because in leading up to this fight, we just saw Tyson looking so strong. We saw the fire in his eyes. We saw his physicality. It's just not the Mike we're seeing tonight, unfortunately, because that's what I really wanted to see.
Fatigue will make a coward out of any man, and that is what we're seeing right now. Mike Tyson, he's coming out with a bouncing sort of energy, but it's all in defense. He's bobbing and weaving, and his legs are moving great, but you should put all the energy into throwing punches, Mike. If you want to win this fight, this is your opportunity right now. Use that energy that you've regained from the corner stoppage to come out and throw punches, not just moving your feet, because after that 30-second mark, you're going to start slowing down. That's what we're seeing right now. It is 40 seconds into this round, and Mike has again started to slow down. Jake Paul standing on the outside, doing what he's done the entire fight, measuring the distance, finding a home for that jab, and throwing the occasional right hand overhand. Mike Tyson looks like he's ready for just the end of this fight to come. He's almost looking at the clock, wanting this fight just to be over with. He's getting a little bit staggered there from that jab.
Jake Paul got a straight jab in the face then.
Yeah, multiple jabs coming from Jake Paul. If he wants to go for the knockout, this is his opportunity, but he's probably going to play it smart and just hang out for another 40 seconds and earn that victory.
That's exactly what it looks like. Yeah, it's a bit disappointing. I did think that we were going to see a bit more action tonight. Constant head blows to Tyson. He's still standing. He just looks tired. He's a bit shaky on the back foot there. Almost looks like he almost got knocked down there. He's looking a bit shaky. I reckon he might be knocked down in 16 seconds or 15 seconds to go. He's got to hold on here.
Yeah,
he's looking shaky on that back foot.
Yeah,
just doesn't look like Mike.
I think it was the right hand that hit the temple of Mike Tyson and staggered him a little bit. But Jake's going to play it safe here. He knows that he's giving him the bow of respect right at the end of the fight here, and he doesn't want to go for that knockout. And
that's
there you go. That's the fight. Well,
it was completely contrasting to the previous fight. There wasn't much really from Tyson's side, but from the beginning there, he just looked wrecked. I think it's a great effort from a 58-year-old man to get in the ring and to get to the end. Actually, no one really predicted that it would make the end. The odds of that were incredibly low, but it has made it to the end. No one got knocked down. I think they were both taking it safe.
Yeah, I think that, Jake's game plan the entire time was to avoid the power of Mike Tyson, and he was always going to be sitting on the outside. He did move forwards a lot. He did try to double up on his shots, and he staggered Mike on several occasions throughout the fight. Mike looking like he was a beaten man before they even started the fight. He was looking down at the ground, looking very sheepish, very uncomfortable, very tired. Even in the interviews backstage before the event, he wasn't even dressed. And when he came out to the ring, it looked like the shirt had been hastily thrown on. It was not a good performance from Mike Tyson. Mark Klein also says just a payday for Mike. I'm guessing that's definitely the feeling that we're getting at this point in time. Wow, the scorecard, somebody giving Mike Tyson the first two rounds, but
I do wonder whether something happened to Mike today, just because we did really see that his physicality and his presentation in the past few days has really been quite strong. I do wonder whether he's also had a flare up today or something like that. Just by the fact that we did see him in the changing room again with no pants, we did see him come out looking like disheveled is the word. And I just wondered the way he looked, it did look like an athlete who was really sick, but he did manage to make it through all 8 rounds, and both fighters giving each other respect there. I do think, as someone with such a strong status in the sport, at his age, he's come in and perhaps, despite whatever the circumstances are, he's made it through to the very end. So I think that kind of speaks for what an athlete he was in his prime. But I definitely did expect a bit more. What about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. The fight that everyone wanted to see was a bar brawl kind of thing, with people swinging for the bleachers, but we were never going to see that with the disciplined team that Jake Paul has around him, that they would have been working non-stop on footwork, on distance control, on making sure you get that jab, making sure that when the opportunity to throw that right hand is there, you throw it, but you get yourself out of harm's way afterwards, which is exactly what he employed throughout that entire fight. Mike Tyson needing to close that distance, having a 5-inch reach disadvantage, and just his style of fight. He needs to get in close. He needs to duck under jabs, and then he needs to land uppercuts and body shots as he's coming up from his bobbing and weaving. But Jake Paul just wasn't there to be hit. He was always moving away. He was very much in control of this match. Mark Klein says shameful, and he says why not go hard for his age in the first couple of rounds. I think that Mike gave it his best effort. I don't think that his body is in the position where he was able to just charge after Jake and start swinging punches. I think even if he wanted to go and just try to knock out Jake with everything he had, Jake just wasn't there to be hit.
Oh, God, we're just seeing Jake Paul's hand lifted by the ref for the decision, 79-73, winner by unanimous decision. It just looked like Tyson had nothing to give. I had a thought, but I forgot what it was.
Mike Klein says he always had a small reach. That's correct. His style was that bobbing and weaving style. He was able to duck under people's jabs, close the distance, use his footwork, switch his feet back and forth, get in close, land big body shots. And as he's ducking and weaving, he'd come up with those big uppercuts and those big power shots that would catch the taller heavyweights with the longer reach. He doesn't have the ability to get in close, and he just never moved forwards. He was just moving sideways and sort of standing still the entire fight. And when you're doing that against somebody who's moving backwards, you're just never going to hit him.
Yeah, absolutely. So we got 70 punches landed by Paul, 78 punches landed by Paul, 18 by Tyson. Something like the percentage is insane there on the final punch stats. It's just disappearing off my screen, however.
Yeah, well, there you go. 78 punches landed by Jake Paul, 18 from Mike Tyson. That tells the story right there. And I wouldn't mind seeing the count on how many were actually thrown as opposed to just how many were landed, because I think of the 18 that Mike threw, there was probably only maybe 30 that he threw in total.
I just can't believe we're seeing Jake Paul beat Mike Tyson in a boxing match. So this now brings Jake's record to 11 wins, I believe. How many of those were? I want to see him fight now. He's fought Mike Tyson. He just looks wrecked. I would like to see him fight someone.
Let's just hear what Mike Tyson has to say in his interview.
Yeah, let's do that. He said he's happy. He's a good fighter. He was prepared. I came to fight. He's just called Jake Paul a good fighter. I love what he's just said. I didn't prove nothing to nobody. I just am happy with myself. Which I love. I remembered what my thought was as well. My thought was just that, I thought Mike Tyson, one of his reasons as a fighter to be so great is he was able to translate the pain in his life into the ring and face the, and use, face his, what he's been through onto the other person. And leading up to the fight, I thought he was going to bring that. Someone mentioned like, bring the darkness, bring this, bring that, but I just didn't see that in his eyes. And I do think he said he's happy with his performance today, as he should be at 58. But that wasn't that thing that what made Mike wasn't there. And I do think maybe, as mentioned, I believe it looks like more like he just wasn't there to start with. Yeah. Wasn't there. Not from the walk-in, not from the moment he was pantless in the changing room.
Was that your favourite moment?
No, my favourite moment was the pigeon. Or the fight before. But I do think, I just think that would kind of set the tone for the whole fight. I'm also confused why the cameraman chose that shot, actually.
Yeah, why did they zoom in as well?
Did they zoom in? I think I looked away.
It's like, what are you doing, dude? It's on Netflix. Everyone can see this.
Yeah, it was a bit funny.
But yeah, Mike stepping out. I just wanted Mark Klein saying that he wants to see Mike fight his mailman next. It's like, okay,
His mailman,
his mailman,
or Jake Paul's mailman, or your mailman.
I'd say it's Mark Klein's mailman that he wants to fight. That he wants to see him fight.
I don't ever want to. I can honestly say I am done with watching Mike Tyson fight. The last fight against Roy Jones Jr. was perhaps better than this, even though it was an exhibition. But I do think like he wasn't looking good then, but at least he looked a little bit better than how he looked in the ring. And when I first, as mentioned, as soon as I saw him, I thought, nah, I don't really want to watch it anymore.
Yeah, you were saying that. Yeah, before it even started, you're like, I don't want to watch.
Nah, it just didn't look right. It does look like, you know, your favorite uncle or someone like that, you know, getting in the ring, looking a little bit done with life.
when they're introducing you and all eyes are on you, and you're about to have your fight, you're the main event, and you're standing there with your head down, like you don't want to be there, and please stop looking at me. That's not a good sign. And it felt very much like that for Mike Tyson, that he didn't want this. I think he was in it for the money. I think he was in it for, yeah, sure, I'll do it. But I don't think it was like a passionate, I want to kill this guy, I want to destroy him, as it used to be when he would fight as a younger man. That he would visualize, taking that pain and throwing it all on his opponent. You didn't see any of that in this. I think that it was more so, hey, Mike, this is probably going to earn you a lot of money. You know, maybe you should go out and do it. And it was, you could see it, like there was no passion there. It was like, okay, I've just got to do this thing.
Absolutely agreed. And that was a bit disappointing. And I almost wonder, like, I mean, he has now stated and he definitely looks happy with his performance, which is a really nice to see, because I was concerned. I didn't want to see him fight before, but now he's, you know, he's smiling. He looks like, you know, he's happy that he's done, that he's made it to the end, and he's happy with his performance. That's all that matters. We all want him to be, want everyone to be happy. But just that appearance in the beginning was super interesting. Like, you just wouldn't, even if you were feeling like I do, you know, all the time, even if you're feeling or you're going through something incredibly difficult, especially in that circumstance, you've got to put on a front and you've got to put on a different appearance. He didn't even bother. You know, and that could be an old man thing, you know. It could be that he's just like, you know, like, no, I'm just done. I don't know. But like, I would have thought that Mike would have put on a face there that he didn't put on. What do you reckon?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that told the story of the fight, and that was the thing that we immediately picked up on. His body language was terrible for somebody about to fight a main event. It's like, if you're going to be fighting, you should be amped up like this. You're in a fight mood, like you're going to go fight this dude. And everyone's going to be watching. It should have been like a really exciting moment for him, but he would look the complete opposite. It looked like he was depressed. It looked like he was tired. It looked like he didn't want to be there. Pradeep Singh from Arm Wrestling News says that 96% of people that were predicting Mike to win, and then saying Jake should be ashamed for picking an easy fight with an old man, which doesn't make any sense. I agree with you there, Pradeep. People are delusional, absolutely. If Mike was the favorite to win, then why does age matter? Absolutely. And if you looked across the betting lines at all of the sports books that were out there, Jake Paul was the clear favorite. People who run those books, they don't make mistakes with that, and they know their sports inside and out. That is why Jake Paul was the favorite going in. I think most people only sort of casually watch boxing. They don't understand it to a very anything more than a surface level. They would have heard of Mike Tyson. They would have known him from his previous fights years and years ago. And they would have been like, oh, yeah, he's a killer. And they would have heard that for years. Yeah, Mike Tyson's like the most devastating fighter ever. And then it's like, oh, he's fighting? Yeah, man, he's a killer. Yeah, he'll destroy anybody. And it's like, you do realize he's 30 years past his prime. And he's fighting a guy that is probably in his prime, his athletic prime, even though he's not at that elite status. But yeah, it was quite funny to me that there were so many people that were like on the Mike Tyson hype train. And I did think that he had an opportunity to win the fight. And as we both said, early in the fight, that round one, that round two was when he was going to have the best opportunity, because he's still a powerful man. He still knows how to throw a devastating punch, but the ability to close the distance and actually land that punch is what told the story of the fight.
Absolutely. And I think with what the arm wrestling comment has said there, that people were delusional with that, is we all wanted to see it. That's the biggest thing. We want to see. I would love in my lifetime to have had the opportunity to see someone like Tyson at his prime live, which I just won't get. But I hoped that he'd be able to, with training, bring out a glimmer of that. But with that age, it just is too much. He is just too old, and he has had his run. Seeing him get out of the ring there, he just looks absolutely exhausted. He was walking very slow. He looks like your neighborhood grandpa. He doesn't look like Mike Tyson, the champion that we all obviously delusionally hoped to see. And I was going to mention there regarding the odds that you brought up. Interestingly, Katie Taylor wasn't the favourite of that fight, even though I definitely thought I hope that she was going to win. Definitely not in that manner. I think we've seen too. I think we saw a similar expression on Katie Taylor's face at the end of her fight that we saw at the beginning of Mike Tyson fighting his.
No, absolutely. Yeah, completely correct. And again, the corruption side of boxing is devastated that sport to the point where most people, if anything controversial happens, they say, yeah, well, that's just boxing, and that's how it is. And most people don't accept results, and they think that every fight is fixed, and it's got a very bad reputation, probably the worst sporting reputation for fixing fights out of any sport in the world.
Probably.
And that'll be another feather in its cap for that last fight that took place before the main event. I couldn't see any which way that Serrano lost that fight. But Pradeep Singh says that predictions are just hopes. It's a display of who you would like to see win. Yeah, there's definitely two sides. Like, if somebody says, who do you think will win? You can say, well, I hope this person will win, but I think that this is the actual outcome that will take place. And they're always the people that you know are better to listen to, because they're not letting their emotions and their personal preference go in front of their judgment of facts. And it's like, okay, well, I understand the sport, and I understand the competitors that are competing against each other, and this is more than likely going to be the outcome that takes place, but I hope that this guy wins, So you can see the analysis side of what somebody is thinking. But if somebody just goes, oh yeah, this dude's just going to smash him, and it's like, he's a massive underdog. He's a massive underdog. Why do you think he's going to smash him? Oh, because he's awesome. He's just awesome. He'll just smash him. And it's like, okay, I'm probably not going to listen to you.
Really interesting. Just looking at Jake Paul's security team here, so if Jake Paul's 6'1", I reckon those guys are 6'4" to 5", massive tanks, and then quite a few members on the security detail there. Just interesting to watch. He's now being congratulated by the people around the ring.
He'll be soaking up that moment for sure. He's one of those people that loves the attention. I'm surprised he even actually got out of the ring.
I also think he is going to find a way to capitalize on this, and he's obviously going to be going on saying, "Look at me, I'll beat Mike Tyson. I'm ready for anyone." And he's definitely going to play along what you said, Matt. He's going to be playing that bad boy, that one that everyone wants to hate, that arrogance. He's going to be really playing that up to try and bait some more fighters. I think what we might see. As a boxing fan, he is. I still can't believe he's fought Mike Tyson. I mean, that's just crazy. That was probably the highlight of his life. I think it would be the highlight of mine. But he is one of them. But he is, I think, potentially, if he was a boxer serious, which it looks like, he's going to be aiming at kind of picking these people one by one until he eventually gets to, he's had that experience. He builds up his confidence as a fighter, as an athlete in this way. And then he fights someone who is, a legitimate world champion, and he eventually gets his title. I think we can be seeing him get his title. I think he could easily get some of the belts that are a bit easier to achieve. He could aim for those, and I think we could see it happen. What do you think?
I think that his goal is not for world championship status. I think that he is quite happy. Him and his brother
Mm.
just absolutely love the spotlight and getting those big name matches and getting as
Mm.
much attention as possible where they make millions and millions of dollars means more to them than having a world championship.
Mm.
Especially, if you, it's like, okay, you're the world champion. It's like, yes, I'm champion of the world. It's like, yes, but there's also 17 other world champions in boxing, like
Mm.
it doesn't,
Mm.
and it's like, well, what comes with that, and how much do I have to earn, and how much do I have to sacrifice to get that title
Mm.
versus, well, you could fight this guy and make $300 million. It's like, I think I'll rather do that. So I would say that's probably where they're pushing. Murdoch says, well, Mike made dollars, so all good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true, Murdoch.
And
Indeed, he did make. He did make money, and he's happy. I heard the contact was odd. What do you mean by that? I don't understand that.
I think he means the contract between the fighters. I don't know what the contract was, but as far as the legality of the fight, it was a sanctioned fight under the Athletic Commission. You cannot fix a fight. You cannot change the rules of. It has to be agreed upon presenting that to the Athletic Commission, and it will go as an official fight on both of their records. So it is not an exhibition where you can make your own rules up and happily go at it. It was a sanctioned boxing match.
Mm. And that's why I was expecting to see Mike bring something a bit more that he did not bring in the exhibition against Roy Jones Jr. Money talks tonight. Yeah, money does talk. And I just think one of the biggest things is I thought today money might not buy you happiness, but it can buy you a fight against Mike Tyson.
That's right. Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Well, there you go. Well, should we wrap things up, Urian?
Yeah, I think overall, in terms of predictions and what we saw tonight, I thought I really enjoyed. I'm glad we had the fight with Taylor and Serrano because it was a really great match to watch. And then seeing Tyson and Paul went a bit differently to how I imagined it. I did think either man could take the other one down, give him a knockdown, maybe a knockout, which we didn't see. But I am impressed with Jake Paul as a boxer now. No, I wasn't before. I mean, he had the balls to get in the ring with Mike Tyson. I do think Mike Tyson's age and however perhaps his body was running today wasn't optimal. I did kind of expect a bit more from Mike, but I think the way that Jake approached it was perfect, and it paid off in the win today.
Absolutely. Good final thoughts. My final thoughts Jake Paul doing what I thought he would do, managing distance, staying on the outside, avoiding Mike Tyson's power. Tyson having to close the distance. He needed to land those big strikes, and the best chance of him winning the fight was going to be in those first 1 or 2 rounds, and then he was going to be gassing from that. It's pretty much exactly what took place there. Jake Paul playing it safe near the end of the fight. He probably could have put the pressure on more if he was looking for a knockout, but why do that when you're about to earn hundreds of millions of dollars and you've only got 3 or 4 minutes to go of sitting and quite safely keeping distance against somebody who's not moving forward and not even throwing punches at all. So Murdoch here says more views in 16 minutes than all of the arm wrestling matches today. That's true.
Really? Even the Indian ones though?
No,
can't be right.
I'd say they would have done a massive payday for both guys today, but it was entertainment, and that's what we saw. We saw the guys come out, put on a show. We saw them box. Jake Paul is the winner. He was able to get the victory in a unanimous decision over Mike Tyson. And
I'm just wondering what happened to the pigeon.
it had earmuffs. It was fine.
I wonder where it is right now, and I wonder if it's a gift back to. Yeah, I do agree. I really agree with this comment. It was tough seeing Tyson look so vulnerable, and that's what I said at the beginning. As soon as I saw him in the ring like that, his body language was like this. He was really like, the camera's coming up close, and he was kind of like, at least someone said a great thing once, which I can't remember. It was when I studied sports psychology. It was like your feelings become your thoughts, become your sports performance. And so as an athlete, if I was feeling that way before, I would just change. I would be working very hard to be changing how I was feeling, to be changing my thoughts, just to present something a bit different.
Jeez, yeah.
Yeah.
Like if you were his corner man and you saw him, like, you'd be like, Mike, you need to switch on, mate. Like, what the hell is this? Like, what?
I would. And I was very surprised to see that. I mean, yeah, I would have thought that he could, put it on. And maybe however he felt was so bad he couldn't or something. I don't know. Why do you think he didn't attempt to change that? Like, that was just so obviously, like, that was obvious. It wasn't even like he was trying to look different.
Yeah, I think that he doesn't want, well, from interviews that I've seen with him over the years of recent times, he never wants to go back to that mindset and that mentality that he had when he was in those early years of boxing, because it was so aggressive and so negative and so toxic and it was driven by hate and anger. And he said, I don't want to ever be that guy again, because it was so horrible to be that person, just filled with rage at all times. But it was great for boxing. Like he was able to utilize that and channel that into his boxing work. But to have dealt with that for over 30 years and then try to get hyped enough to have another fight and not want to go back into your main source of power, I guess, through your emotional state. Maybe he felt a little bit lost as to how do I turn myself on here without going into that person and becoming that animal, because maybe he was scared that if I do that mentally, I don't know if I'm going to be able to come back from that, and I don't want to be that person again.
Yeah, that could very well be it. He has mentioned that, and also I think he as well has been on some sort of spiritual journey, just like Jake. Great comment here. Jake is smart enough to know he would be hated for knocking Tyson out at 58. Yeah, that's true. I don't know if it's possible to be more hated now.
I don't agree with that comment.
With that comment? Yeah.
No.
Sorry, you go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think Jake would have loved to have knocked Mike Tyson out. But I think right at the end of the fight, he knew there was only 10 seconds left. And it was like, okay, whatever, we'll just finish this up. But I think that for his notoriety and with his personality, if you're going into a boxing match, you want to beat the other dude. And he was throwing punches. He was throwing knockout punches. He was trying to knock Mike Tyson out for that whole fight up until maybe 15 seconds in.
He did pretty well technically. Like looking at, like, technically, I thought his performance was really good, which is quite impressive for someone who's done the sport for 4 years. And that's the great thing about boxing, is really, like, you can really pick it up. I've seen a lot of Anthony Joshua. A lot of these people did start later in life, which for me, starting later in life is a great inspiration. I did notice, like, in a lot of these interviews in the last few years, Mike Tyson does talk about that place, which I mentioned before was his greatest strength, like turning that pain, which is one of the most inspirational things, that really resonates with me. And I think it's interesting that both of these athletes we saw tonight have been on this really spiritual journey, through all sorts of things to arrive where they are today. And that Tyson, I think he is, his spirituality has really gone in the direction that he's recognized that past self and no longer identifies with it and identifies differently. And you're right, like, maybe that's what we were seeing was, his head bowed and all of this, and his closed body language kind of maybe more being like, I'm not facing that ego. Oh, I'm not gonna turn into the monster. I'm not gonna turn into the monster. Like, maybe that's what the whole thing was.
It would be a scary thing as well to have to face that, like, mentally and through your own personal experience, that you're stepping out in an environment where you're scared that if certain things happen, or if you get pushed into a corner, that you may change, like personality wise, permanently to something you don't want to be. And so that could be a devastatingly scary feeling to be out there. And it's like, if I need to win this fight, I need to become something I don't want to be, and I don't know if I can come back from it. That's not a good feeling. Like, that's not something. So maybe those thoughts were running through his mind as he's standing there and they're announcing his name, and he's like, just don't become that person. Like, just do this, just be Mike Tyson as you are now, because I'm happy with where I am. I've grown, I've moved through things. I don't want to become that animal. And but if you want to win the fight, maybe that's where you needed to tap into, but then it comes with a massive consequence for the rest of your life as well.
Absolutely.
Jake had plenty of opportunities to continuously lay a beat down on Tyson. Tyson wasn't moving. He was a statue. If Jake decided to throw punches, Tyson would have been out. I don't think so. I think that Jake did land some good shots, but he was very concerned about the power of Mike. And he cleverly would throw. He did land some good shots, and then he would back out of there, because that counter punch is all he only needs to land. One counter punch, and you are on your back. And maybe your head is in the third row.
Yeah.
So he fought a very clever fight, and it can be easy to say, the opponent's not moving, they're not throwing punches back. They only have to hit you once, and it may be that one when you don't see it. And if you're like, oh, I've got this dude hurt, I'm going to go for it, and you throw 4 or 5, and then bang, that counter punch that they haven't been throwing anything the whole round, and that's the one that hits you right in the chin.
Yeah, he did do a great job of stepping away. I was really, as mentioned, we were really hoping to see a bit more from Mike tonight, but I think given his age and his whatever went on today, he gave everything he had, and he is happy with that, which is absolutely the most important thing. Jake Paul did a great job of just evading, but also obviously throwing punches at a distance, which is, as a shorter fighter with a smaller reach, it's not the funnest thing, And he did do that, He totally was like, he was away. They weren't close enough to be exchanging. There was no. I don't think was there even an exchange. Maybe 1 or 2.
Yeah, hardly any. And it was always with Jake moving away, which is exactly what he needed to do as his best opportunity to win the fight was keep distance. Do not get close to him. He will wreck you if you get into a brawl with him. He is that guy. So stepping close to Mike Tyson is the danger zone. You want to step in and out. You are in for a half a second, you land your shot, you're out of there. You do not want to hang out there at all. And he did get caught 18 times. So he wasn't completely able to get away with it. But none of those were knockout punches. But he was still able to hang out enough that he landed his 78 of his own punches. But any time that you're close to Mike Tyson is like you are in danger of this fight being ended with one punch. So there you go. Ban yourself, says Home Gym, for disagreeing with me. And Murgot says, deep thoughts, lovely perspective. Mike was fighting more than just Jake, fighting against his prior self too. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's one of those things. And he's been very candid and very honest, and probably more than any other combat sports athlete that I've seen in my lifetime, as to the thoughts and demons that he's faced mentally, and the reason why he was so devastating, and the consequences that came with that, and the work that he has done since then to change the way that he would think and feel, and that he's a lot happier now in the places that he is, and he doesn't want to go back to that. And then putting yourself in a position where maybe that might happen again would be very, very scary to face.
I think one of the most positive things about tonight was his comments after the fight, and that was really nice, I think, for the whole world to hear, because we're all feeling similar. And I think it was great to hear that he is proud of himself, his performance tonight, and I'm very impressed that he made it through 8 rounds. At his age, that's impressive. Nearly 60 years old, and that shows you what it's like, as the athlete he was at his prime. That it means that at nearly 60, he can go the distance with someone nearly half his age.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, overall, you're right. There's a lot of positives to take out of this. I think that there's going to be a lot of pundits that are not happy with it, but they're the mainstream non-boxing fans. They're just people that are like bought it because they know the names and they're like, yeah, I'm just gonna get it. But and they'll probably be upset with the result because they didn't see Tyson knock somebody out. But at the end of the day, if you look at the people that were in the match and you know the story and the history and what they were dealing with and how everything turned out, there is a lot of positives to take away from it.
Absolutely. And also congratulations on such a spectacle. Like I can't wait to see. I'll quickly look it up now. Let's see what the final numbers were. How many people watched it?
What, Netflix?
Yeah. No way. 282.7 million people were watching in quarter three the reported pay-per-view purchases of the most watched boxing match of all time. That is incredible. We were lucky enough to be a part of that and watch that live. I'm really grateful for that.
Pay-per-view purchases. It was on free. It was a free on Netflix though.
Yeah, you had to pay. I didn't have Netflix before this.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Luckily, I did it as a backup plan because my initial plan to watch this fell through, which is actually a great life lesson I learned on a recent course was pace, plan, alternate, contingency, and emergency. So to have almost 3 backups to your original, which is why, I had it. I had my plan. I had my alternate on my phone. I had my contingency on my laptop. I had no emergency. But I'm so lucky. And that's a great takeaway for anything in your life. If you got something super important to you, plan for pace. Like seriously do it. If you're going somewhere, I don't know, for communications with your phone, different communications, so on. It's a great thing to live by.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Well, should we wrap this up? And
we should. I'm just looking at the stats. I want to see if there's any more stats here that we can bring out because that's amazing to me. 282 million people were watching that.
That's outrageous. It's amazing.
I wonder how many were watching the girls. Like how awesome for women to have that. Like that's a huge positive out of this. Absolutely. And that was like the best fight you could showcase for us. I'd like to say I would fight, pretty similar level, same technique. No, I'm just joking.
Yeah, you would have taken both of them at the same time.
Not yet. Oh, I would have seen red. No, not yet. Maybe one day.
Tyson.
But yeah, and then Tyson. I think I could say that I could face Mike Tyson in the ring because I just run away. I just run away. I am surprised. Also, for me, I was definitely predicting a bit more of a farce, a bit more of a show, and perhaps a bit more. As mentioned, I was convinced there would be an ear in the mouth. There was none. Actually, while you're here, let's see what happened to Pigeon. That's the final thing we got to see. What happened to the Pigeon in the Tyson fight?
Home Gym Physique says that 280 million people were watching this live. Congratulations, Matt. Yeah, I don't think that's what happened. But it would be nice. Hello to Phil Woody as well. You always jump in my stuff right as I'm ending it.
I'm just trying to, guys, this is very important intel. I'm just trying to find out. Here we go. It was a real pigeon. I'm just reading some of the. I know we are wrapping things up for everyone who's been here for the entire 38, the entire 3 hours. I'm just trying to find. There is a caged pigeon riding shotgun. That is just so funny. Yeah, no, there's nothing on the pigeon. I really want to know. I'll find that out maybe next time we have a chat. I'll bring it up.
You are the only person invested in the pigeon story.
Well, animal welfare. But also it's a bit of a like, why was the pigeon there? Like, I believe that was the pigeon he bought for him, but I wondered, did he give it to him afterwards as a gift? And I do I will say that, Jake has said many times, like, what an honor it is to be in the ring with Mike Tyson. I'm just happy to see someone love boxing as much as most of us do. And that's really, there's nothing on the pigeon here. That's really positive to see that he, even though he can be that character, which again, we talked previously about what do people put out there versus who are they in private. But he did give Mike a lot of credit, which to me demonstrates a real fight, like a real boxing fan.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we've just got Natalie Stone has jumped in here.
Oh, Nat. Hey, Nat. Long time no speak, man. If I'm talking to you, I got to have a cool outfit on. Natalie is the best cosplayer of all time. And she has incredible costumes, incredible outfits, and she inspired me to dress up as I don't even know what I did.
You were wearing like a wetsuit and something.
I was like, I don't even know how to describe that, but I had a helmet on. It was like almost like I was a pilot of a very fast aircraft, potentially a spaceship.
Right. Yeah, I've got a good photo. I've got a photo.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I think I'm going to bring it up. But yeah, always great to see Natalie pop in. I haven't caught up with.
Oh yeah, bring up a photo of Nat. I thought you meant my outfit. Yeah, bring up a photo of Nat.
I might have one of those as well.
Oh, thank God. Yeah. No. I thought you meant the space thing. No.
I think I do.
It was Halloween as well. That's why I was wearing that.
But what was it though? It was a wetsuit and a helmet.
That is funny. It might have looked like a wetsuit, but it wasn't. It was actually what that actually was, because that was your question. It was a matching two-piece from a sports store. So that was actually made for women to wear at the gym, which I never would. I wore it as a costume, so that kind of says something, doesn't it?
Yeah,
that's funny.
The stream has started again. The Jake Paul thing has moved on to something else, and then it all of a sudden exploded in my ears. I was like, "Oh my God, what is that?"
Natalie has said over and out. Yes, that's what I said. Walking out of the studio with my helmet.
Yeah, I've got a good photo of her here. I've just got to find it. This is one of those things where you're looking through like a million Facebook photos at once.
That's cool. You do that. I'm going to look up. I'm going to find out what's happened to my pigeon. It's
Hashtag pigeon.
Hashtag Pigeongate 2024. Also, interesting statistic here. Serrano landed 324 punches to Katie Taylor's 217, and she still lost.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. 100 more punches and you lose. It's outrageous.
You know what? I just think, like it reminds me of when I had it really tiny in the screen and I saw this round where it just looked like there was nothing happening, but you saw a million punches, and you saw that Jake was smashing that round. That's the thing, is everyone's watching from different views. And to be fair, mine's a bit different to being ringside and missing that sort of thing. But I do wonder how much of that is there in boxing. Like, what if someone's watching it with that lens of, Katie Taylor is the greatest boxer of all time. I mean, I'm personally a big fan of Clarissa Shields as well. She's probably my number one favorite. But, you've got Katie Taylor there, and then this person just sees, okay, Katie doing this, Katie doing that. I don't know. It'd be an interesting experiment to find out how much can our brain actually manipulate what we actually see. I don't know.
There you go.
There is Natalie Stone, one of our best cosplayers and a great powerlifting coach. Also a great powerlifting athlete and a great human being with a great story. And Natalie, you inspire me, and I'm sure many other men and women around the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic. Then I haven't spoken to Natalie for a while. We probably get an update as to what she's doing every time I do.
Yeah, can we interview Natalie?
Yeah, that'd be great. Nat, we'll have to get you on the show at some point.
Nat, you want to jump on down? No.
If you want, I can send you the link.
Hey, actually, while we're talking, what's the world record for the longest podcast? Because I think we could go for it.
Well, Jake, the Aussie arm wrestler, has done a 24-hour one, and then 1 year later, he did a 25-hour one. The
longest interview marathon was 55 hours. Okay, What about podcast? I reckon that's one we could do. We could break that record.
But it would be just like more than likely just be a camera set up and then somebody doing something in the background. I don't think it would be actively having people talking to the camera or whatever for that long. All right, now I'm going to send Natalie the link here, and we'll see if she can jump on.
No, it was broken in 2022 by a Dutch team. Which took 150 hours, and they they planned and carried out a podcast marathon. So it was a team event. Beforehand, it was just it was 2 podcasters, and they did 53 hours in July 2020.
Oh, there you go.
I think with 2 people we could do 50. I reckon we could two 2 days is impressive though. Like you do need like one person surely needs to be able to have a nap.
Oh yeah, well, yeah. Was it 2 people the entire time?
Yeah. Oh no, I don't know. I don't know that.
Yeah. But they're taking turns. That's cheating.
Well, I had a record attempt once, and it was the specification. They're very interesting world records with what you have to do. And for the world's longest indoor rowing record, you had 5 minutes every hour to spend however you wanted, but you couldn't bank it up. So you couldn't bank it up and have half an hour. You had 5 minutes every hour. So I used that time obviously to eat, to refuel, jump in the shower, do whatever I needed to do in that time. And I made it to, I had a friend who is the only reason I made it to 24 or 25 hours or something was because one of my girlfriends came at about 4 a.m. or something, and it was a bit earlier, maybe 3 a.m. And it was that time when I couldn't stay awake. So shout out to Ashley and thank you for your support, because she had to keep talking to me. I was falling asleep.
Oh yeah.
So my point is, it depends on the specifications, and they're very detailed and not what you usually expect. And it's yeah.
There she is.
Hey Natalie, how are you? Oh, it's great to see your face.
I'm good. How do I?
Whoa, she's lost it.
She gone.
She pressed the wrong button. Excited.
She'll come back.
I'm too excited.
Oh, it was good to see your face and hear your voice briefly.
Hang on,
she comes back. We got to ask her.
There she is.
You're great back. To see you, Natalie. How did you watch the fight? What did you think?
I did. Look, I'm not a boxing aficionado like you, but it was great to see someone of Mike's age doing what he was doing, but at the same time, were his legs not working? Like, I feel like that's a bit judgmental to say, but just watching, say, Jake's legs compared to his, he was just bouncing around, and you're the professional here, Z. So, what's the
absolutely? We did. Well, 2 things. Number one, we saw this compression bandage on his leg. We did see the way that he was and his body language was in the ring before. To me, he looked sick from the earlier footage we saw, but more so from the walk-in. But the second thing was I definitely noticed towards, especially the end of round 9, his back foot was almost, I thought he was going to get knocked out. He didn't have, he looked like it just, like there was a weakness, muscle weakness, like body weakness, like neurologically, he wasn't able to have that control of his back leg.
She's gone again.
She's gone. I'm sure she'll come back. But that's what I mean.
I don't know how to use fucking technology.
Stop pressing the buttons. What I'm saying is he had been so affected by the fatigue that at the end he had no control over his legs. Like he had that look of it was just kind of that. I don't know if both of you guys would have trained to fatigue, and when your muscle you can't control, your muscles are so tired that they don't move to how your head is telling them to move, and at the end there we really saw that lack of control. I like the way one thing he did completely consistently, beginning 10 seconds at least of every single round, 20 to 30 seconds every single round. He came out with speed, with great control, and with great footwork, and every time it was like that. But then, straight down. I 100% agree with what you said. His legs weren't working. I don't know. I would be interested in what that bandage was. What injury had he done to I think it was his left knee or his right knee. What was that about?
There you go. Home Gym Physique says, I think Tyson had previously suffered back and knee issues, so he's not going to move like he should.
And that knee, it's gone.
What was it? I get, does age come into it as well? Is he or not really?
Oh, significantly, yeah. 58 years old. And then chasing around a 27-year-old.
Nearly half his age. Nearly half an age there.
Jake's physique was impressive. Like it was
his neck. He has my neck is strong and stronger than like look wise. I would prefer it to look different, but I do like that it is strong. But Jake Paul, now that is a neck. That is a neck. Like, how did he gain that neck? He didn't have that neck before. It's like somehow it all went there. Like the amount of massive, and that was all to protect himself from Tyson. 100%. That's to protect himself from concussion, from that knockout punch. But with a neck like that, I reckon he can start looking at himself as someone who can get seriously punched. I'm interested. I know we touched on it briefly. Matt's opinion is that Jake Paul really just he does 100% love attention, loves the money, business orientated in that way, can convert attention into money for himself. Therefore, he loves the attention because he loves money. I wonder whether he's actually looking to, as he said he has, is he going to fight more people more professionally? What do you reckon? Do you reckon you'd see him fighting up with a neck like that? I think he could.
It'd be good to see more. As someone who's never watched boxing before, it would be really good to watch that. I guess go instead of just being like, I want to fight Mike Tyson and working his way up to fighting Mike Tyson, is like, how serious is he about the sport itself and not just about promoting himself? Because like Tyson did reach in to shake his hand, and then he was just like too busy spraying himself and promoting whatever deodorant spray he had. And I was like, oh, I don't know. My first
when did that happen?
At the just after Jake got announced as the winner, and they did the whole hand holding up thing, and Tyson reached around to shake his hand, and then Jake was like with his little deodorant spray. What is it, like product placing his deodorant immediately straight after the fight, and then after that. He then acknowledged Tyson after that. And I don't know. I was like, to me, if you're fighting one of the greatest boxers of all time, and I don't know anything about boxing, but for me, for respect, if I went up against one of the best powerlifters in the country and I beat them, I would be, the first thing I would do is go shake their hand. It's like, I would just be like, thank you for the opportunity. That was great. Like, win or lose, the fact that you're up against someone like that, not fucking promoting your deodorant.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I didn't catch that. I don't like that at all. That's no good at all. That's incredibly disrespectful to me. 100%.
I think it would be whether or not he knew that Tyson was trying to shake his hand or not.
Yeah, there's also that. Agree.
Oh yeah, that's true. He might have beat him, especially if he's, if I'm promoting Save the Rhino here, and I just happen to have my rhino. You could be so focused on this, and especially if he comes in from a lower angle or something, then you might not see.
True.
By the way, everyone should work on Save the Rhino.
Tell us about that quickly.
This is Chumsy from Save the Rhino, who ran a marathon on the Great Wall of China and was first to cross the line and went viral in China, which is obviously around that area. We have some of the countries that are the greatest importers of illegal wildlife trade, including, unfortunately, the rhino horn. And this is obviously a creature we got to save from extinction. Save the Rhino. You can head to Save the Rhino on Instagram, on your internet, to find out ways that you can contribute to the cause, and perhaps you can get a rhino yourself and start championing them. But back to this deodorant. I think I'll definitely try and watch a replay of that. He might not have noticed. That's a fair case. But I do find that, 100%. Yeah.
A lot of the times with sponsors, they will request a very specific moment or thing that they're paying a lot of money for you to do, and it's like, okay, you're going to use our deodorant, we'll give you, I don't know, $100,000, but you must use it. If you win or lose the fight, in the decision, you've got to spray yourself with that deodorant, and if you don't do it, you won't get that money. And it's like, okay, I've got to make sure I do that. So potentially that could have been a thing as well.
Good point.
But
we must investigate.
Nearly 3 hours.
Yeah.
I'm half Italian. That's nothing.
Oh yeah, that's true. We
watched the fight because they had the build up, and you know what it's like with if your boxing matches and stuff, they have a very long intro, and they got to sing the anthem, and they've got to do all the walk-ins. And
one thing I did catch was the ladies before their fight, and that was amazing. That was amazing to watch. And the is headbutting allowed, or was that like an accidental headbutt that split her eye open?
Yeah,
The
not
first
allowed
one
to
was
headbutt.
certainly accidental.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, the
Yeah.
first one was accidental.
Looked like it. That's what Matt was
Yeah.
saying. I missed it, but Matt was saying it looked like she had defensively moved her head. And it was also, I mean, two people colliding.
Mm.
It
Yeah.
wasn't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was so gnarly. As someone who's never watched that, I'm just like shooting in, going, this chick's face is split open, and they're still going at it. Like that drive and that passion is so admirable. You know, that sport. You know, yeah.
Yeah, it's one of
It
those
is.
things.
And
Oh, you go. You're the
just
boxer.
that it got progressively, like for someone like, Natalie's just mentioned she's never really watched boxing, but she's tuned into this fight and watching two of the best world's women boxers and go at it. And and I mentioned that specifically because they don't usually get showcased. And then we see, she's seen this fighter with like, the split open. And all I was going to say was just how it progressively got like bigger and bigger. And it was quite large towards the end. Like, I think we were talking about, like, as I mentioned, about 3 centimeters. And it was, it was pretty large.
Yeah, it's one of the defensive techniques with boxing is that you're moving into your opponent. So if you're
I
in
would do
close
that.
against them and they're right here, if you've got your chin up, you're more susceptible to getting hit and your chin going flying and you're getting knocked out. Keeping your chin tucked. If you're moving forwards and you're trying to clinch them, which is what she was trying to do in those moments, because the other girl's throwing a big flurry of punches, and it's like, I need to grab hold of her to stop her from doing that. But she's moving forwards, and her head has banged into the other girl's as well. So the very first time that happened, her forehead was here, and she's moved it, and it's gone down, and that's what's caused the initial cut. It wasn't deliberate from what I could see. Then the second time that they clashed heads was they were both swinging punches. They were both moving in throwing right hooks, I think it was, and they both actually smacked heads, which happens again, an accidental one. But then throughout the fight, and I think 3 more times after that, because she was employing that chin down defense and pressing her head towards the other girl, it kept pressing into that cut. And so I don't think it was anything dirty. I don't think she was deliberately like, I'm targeting that, but it was just, that's her style of defense. But it was forcing that cut open again and again. And she did get a warning from the referee. Like, you've got to be careful of where you're putting your forehead. Like, it's not, you're not headbutting, but you are moving forwards into a defensive position, which is potentially causing an injury.
That was really interesting to watch. I've never really sat and watched contact sport before. And I definitely would want to watch again because it was technically really good to watch as well. Especially like the dance between Mike and Jake, where they were kind of sussing each other out, kind of working each other's out their strength at the start. And you could tell that Jake was intimidated as well. It was a fight of respect as much as there were moments. It's like, do you think he held back Izzy to like drop him, like knock him out?
That is a great question. Do I think that Jake Paul held back from knocking out Mike Tyson? He definitely was throwing, as Matt said, a lot of high quality punches. As a fighter, did I think he held back? I'd have to watch it again on slow motion. My gut feeling is I felt like it looked like that, but it may have looked like that more so because he was trying to avoid getting close to Tyson. So maybe it looked like his style, which was really effective, throwing it from further away using his reach, which is really frustrating as a shorter fighter who's really strong up close. I've had that inspiring, and you've got to learn how to counter that. And with if you're at your prime, you can. Maybe that's why it looked like that. I did think it did kind of give off that vibe, and I can see how people would see it that way. I don't know if it necessarily was. I mean, if you knocked out Mike Tyson, it would be, but I do kind of feel like it definitely looked that way. I don't know why it looked that way.
The highlight. Oh, sorry. The highlight reel at the start where they were showing all of Jake's other fights,
Yeah.
fights, they were maybe it was the hype of it all, but he was just moving fast and way more aggressively and just more in their face. And this one, he just seemed a little bit more held back, but that could also have just been the effect of the hype rule. And then this fight started, and I'm just like, and he was even reaching, and is the referee? Yeah, the referee was even said no reaching at one point, because he was kind of Jake had his fist out to Tyson. It was kind of working out the length of a punch that he never ended up throwing. So it was just really interesting to watch how this guy's gone up against other people, even though it was just that highlight reel, to then his attitude and energy in that big fight. Like, it's a huge fight instead of 72,000 people in that stadium, and he kind of just danced with Mike for that time. And I feel like if he got closer to Mike, it would have been a different story. If that's just how
I think so. Yeah, I think if he got close, it would have been a different story. I think Mike. Obviously, that's his strength, so he was waiting for that, perhaps waiting for him to come closer. If he came closer, probably would have been a different story. Gosh, that would have been great to see, though. Would have been a good story to watch, wouldn't it?
Yeah, there's tactics when you go into a fight, and it's your coaches and everyone is going to analyze what the other fighter's strengths are and where your clearest path to victory is going to be. For Jake Paul in this match, his danger zone was going to be anything close to Mike Tyson. You get close to Mike Tyson, he is the world's greatest knockout artist. And even at 58 years old, he will knock your head to the ceiling. Like, you don't want to get near this guy. So the game plan that they would have employed and they would have been training for the last, I don't know, 8 months or whatever, is keep your distance, keep distance control, measure your punches, use your jab. When you see the opportunity, throw the right hand, but get out of danger at all times. If he moves forwards, you move away from him. You don't want to get cornered by him. You don't want to, if you're watching his feet the whole time. If you watch Jake Paul's eyes, he is looking straight at Mike Tyson's chest so that he can see his arms, his shoulders, and his feet as to whether or not he's going to be moving forwards. Because as soon as every time Mike Tyson would start moving forward, Jake would move away, which is an intelligent thing to do. You don't want to fight a fighter at their game and their strength. It's like, why would you go into a brawl with Mike Tyson when you can beat him by staying on the outside and playing a smart game? I think that he absolutely wanted to win by knockout. He threw heavy punches that just missed, and if you look at some of those, they were whistling past Tyson's forehead and chin. It was right at the end of the fight in the 8th round, in the last 10 seconds, when he was like, okay, I'll just bow to you, and that sort of thing. But up until that point, I think without a doubt would have loved to have knocked out Mike Tyson, and he was doing everything he could to it, but he was staying disciplined and measured in his approach, because there's been so many times when people have abandoned the game plan, they've moved into danger and they've gotten caught, and then they get knocked out themselves.
I got to say, on how I see it currently, which again, I've watched it on, I had the browser very small at times because of the loading. I would say it didn't look to me like he held back because he was trying to run away from Mike Tyson, the Mike Tyson we knew up close, and he didn't want to be close to him. I think that was more of why he was holding back, was actually the fear of getting caught up close, which is a great defense. I recall after, this, hearing Matt just then is, there were times when I was, announcing a round and they were a meter apart, and that's, so therefore we can see that Jake Paul was obviously scared, of being so close to Tyson, but well done, credit, I think, the technique. I'm really happy to hear that someone like Nat, who hasn't watched much combat sport before, has been drawn in today. How beautiful is that? Especially that you got to watch. I'm happy you got to watch such a great match with Katie Taylor, despite the final decision perhaps not being what we expected. You did get to see two of the greatest fight each other.
So at the end of the day, does it come down to punches landed to win the match? Is that how it is?
Round by round. So each round is scored 10 or less. So one one person will get 10 points, their opponent will get 9 points or less. And so most rounds are 10-9. Usually it will only go 10-8 if somebody gets knocked down in a round. So if you get knocked down, you automatically lose a point. And so say Izzy and I are fighting, Izzy knocks me down, I would automatically the best that I could get. Even if I got up and won the rest of the round, I wouldn't be able to win. So one person will get 10 points, the other person will get 9 points or less, and then you score the fight as a total. So
Matt,
that's why
I'm sorry, Matt. I won't fight you, but I will fight Jake Paul.
I want to see this happen. I want to see that happen.
We should campaign for it. I would want to face Jake Paul right now. Say I feel like I want 24 months, but to face him before I would have said 12 months. But maybe 24 is too long. I could do 18 months, 12 to 18 months of preparation. I'd do it. I'd do it.
Is that sport drug tested?
I don't know if they were drug tested because it didn't look like it to me. I've always competed in drug tested sports. Yes. So personally, if it were drug tested, I think then I would only need 12 months. Maybe it would be better for me. I don't know.
No, sorry, you keep going.
Oh, actually, it should have been. Technically, it should have been if it was sanctioned by the Athletics Commission. Then surely that means it must be because I
think it depends on the organisation that's running it. And
Izzy could take Matt.
Hey.
The comment is he could take Matt.
Yeah, absolutely. She would in boxing. I don't know how to box.
Oh, I didn't read that. Who said that? Thank you, but I want to take Jake Paul. I want to take Jake Paul, but he is drug tested every day. Drug testing rules that Mike Tyson that's why he was looking like that. You know, he does smoke a lot of marijuana and he gave up marijuana ahead of the fight.
It depends on the organization, their rule set. I'm not sure where the fight took place, but if it was in Nevada, let's say the Nevada State Athletic Commission would be the one sanctioning that fight and overseeing it, making sure that everything was legal and everything was running as it should be according to the rules, unified rules of the Boxing Association. So the promotion would have to follow those rules, and whether or not they've written in that you must have drug testing under these protocols, I don't know.
There's this comment here which I don't really approve of that said there was a random boxing coach who said they've got to let Mike use some special supplements a little bit. I mean, 58-year-olds. I wouldn't call them special supplements.
Vitamin S.
Yeah, vitamin S.
You can almost guarantee that both guys were on stuff.
Oh, to get as big as Jake is, like.
Wait.
He was thick, man.
Mike Tyson says he trains on mushrooms. He said he always trains on mushrooms and consuming them makes him feel beautiful.
I mean, actually, you know what? When I did tune in, the first thing that I did see was Mike Tyson's butt from when he flashed into his warm-up room.
See, even Nat saw it. What was with that? That was so weird.
I was just like, you know what? If that makes him feel free, go for gold, man. Go for gold.
I can't believe it though. I mean, that just goes to show you Mike Tyson's lack of caring about what other people think. And it's like, okay, I'm going to be doing a professional interview here right now. Should I put some pants on? No.
That's the first thing that I saw. I was like, okay. What
is this boxing?
Man.
It does say so. It would have been. I mean, there would have been. It would be like a sports event in Australia. So it would be like a powerlifting event where drug testers could have rocked up. Whether they were less likely to due to the pee pool or something like that, potentially. I mean,
we don't even test much in our tested sports. Hey,
and I must say, throwing it out there. I recently was reading on a Asada's website. There was someone that I knew who was in powerlifting who tested positive, and it was incredibly disappointing because, you know, I didn't know this about this person, but, you know, they were an online fitness coach, and as someone who's trying really hard for my online fitness business, it's like, oh, guys, can you be honest about it, or like give me a chance, because my body looks like this. I am taking a break right now, but like, my body looks a certain way when I've been training for over 10 years, and it's nothing like what these athletes look like. And it's like, I can't. Yeah, you go ahead.
I'm in the same boat. I feel exactly the same, especially like with what we do with what is it, like, say
What did he say? Let's hit it.
Did Tyson chew
Did Tyson chew my finger? I didn't want to tell you guys about this, but yes, I did. I did get in the ring as part of sparring. He requested me. That was because I was, just stronger than Jake Paul, and so he wanted to fight someone who'd be better than Jake Paul to practice with. And he got me up against the ropes, and he was going for my ear, but I put my hand up here, and he bit my finger instead.
That's great.
Oh my god! Whereabouts are you at the moment, Izzy?
I'm in Sydney. Yeah, what about yourself?
Sydney. I'm in my office. Yeah,
nice.
Yeah,
nice.
I love that. I was programming, and then I was gonna go to the beach, but then you guys are like, come on the live, and I was like, okay, we're gonna go get dressed properly. So I was in my pajamas.
Yeah, unlike Mike Tyson,
I actually nah. But it's interesting how you say that about like the drugs in the sport. It's like when I was first starting in this sport, and I then found out about certain people using gear and claiming to be natty, and it blew my mind, and it kind of made me go, well, if it took gear for them to do that, then I can do and they're at my level, then what's the point? You know what I mean? So like, when I first started in the sport, I was moving weights that women who were on gear were moving. And
same.
And even just like, for example, say, I compete in knee sleeves, and I squatted 200 kilos at nationals in knee sleeves, and women are squatting that in wraps, taking a shit ton of gear. And it kind of made me proud for that hard work and that extra work ethic that comes with it. I feel like a lot of that comes down to work ethic, that people who just jump on high dosages don't go and do. They just get a little bit in and then rely on everything else. And that's where the difference with longevity in the sport is as well. Like, you'll see people pop up and there'll be huge names in like 6 months to a year. They'll hang around for a year and a half and then disappear because they've taken too much stuff. And then it's like, we're still plodding along 8 years later, a couple of trophies.
Absolutely.
And stuff. Yeah. And my favorite thing is that I was told I'd never be able to get to where I am natural. And I took home a trophy from one of those comps. So, yeah. And that's the thing. I know you like that stuff. Yeah.
Was the trophy a syringe on a stand?
Honestly, I don't think my mum would let me. That's my main fear, is my mum, because she's Italian. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Woo.
Yeah. Full blood.
Forza Italia.
Yeah. So it's an interesting thing. Do it if you want, but be honest. If you're going into a drug tested comp as someone who has used gear, you are no longer natural. The moment you've touched it, and then you want to go jump into a tested fed after using gear, you've already enhanced your body. You're already enhanced, even if you've been off for 6 months. Like, we were seeing women go from, say, pro raw, which is untested, very untested, and then you suddenly see women in lower weight classes moving, say, 200 plus kilo lifts, suddenly in a drug tested comp a few months later, and you're just like going, okay, so is this real or not? But they're not drug testing everyone. They only drug test some. So how drug tested is that?
What you said, yes. And having a friend who's involved with, I think it's now called Sports Integrity Australia, has been awesome, because like, you see a lot of sides of things, and there are unfortunately limited resources. But I was going to say, the funny thing about this person was that, like, I remember watching her stories on Instagram, and I thought to myself, wow, like, she was lighter than me, leaner than me, and like, she was lifting really impressive. And I remember just thinking, wow, like, it's going to sound, I don't know how to deliver this properly. I know how some people are going to interpret it, but it's not often that I would see another woman as strong as me. It's not often that we see women lift like, similar or do what I do. I have now been training since 2014 with weights. Before then I was a runner, but I've been training for a decade to achieve what I can achieve. And then someone will come and within 6 months, if they're lifting what's taken me, I looked at my bench, for example, and I had figures from a few years ago, and it took, say, 2 years to improve a certain amount. But a woman will come in and she'll be like super lean and all that, and she'll do it within 6 months. That's just not how it works. And it's the difference between putting what you mentioned, the work ethic, and putting it in. And I'm proud of you for achieving what you've achieved, and I'm proud of what I've achieved, because to me, achieving what I can achieve with weights, when I'm strong and when I'm fit and when I'm healthy, it's not really so much like, yes, it's about the work I put in, but I personally feel like it's coming from my ancestors and my genetics. And it's like, I believe their strength lies in me, and that's what I'm most proud about,
I feel that, especially when, you've been.
I just hate seeing these girls do this stuff. I'm sorry, but yeah, go on. And the guys, I just hate it when it's not right, but go on.
It is hard. That's also why I don't actually go into drug tested myself. Like, I don't compete in drug tested because they don't test everybody. And my personal opinion, and I've argued with people who run these events who say it's still drug tested if there's drug testing. It's like, you're only drug testing select people who aren't your mates, who aren't on something and are very obvious who have been on gear. And it is such a hard conversation and I don't want to step into a comp and I will be immediately drug tested as soon as I step in there. And you might have someone who has been, popping it off and they ignore them. And it's because
that's hectic. That's no good at all. I don't like that. No, because I know in a lot of sports, and in sports I've competed in, they'll always do like the top 3 or something like that, because I mean, there's not really much a point testing the others, but to test here and there, that's a bit hectic. That is a bit hectic. That's a bit off.
It is a bit, and that's why I just don't go near it. And I do it for myself at the end of the day. It's not about anything other than just seeing what my body's capable of doing. And too often people are just chasing the Instagram glory. It's like, do you know Jackson Tippett? The bodybuilder Jackson Tippett?
Yeah, he was. I'd love to take, before we finish the podcast, so let's talk about Jackson and then let's wrap it up. I know Matt's been trying for about 45 minutes, but let's quickly, we're just going to talk, we're just going to talk about Jax real quick. Nat, you go first, and then I'll say some words, and then I'm happy. But yeah, go ahead and talk about Jax.
I feel like Jackson, I never knew who he was, and he commented on one of my bench videos where I was getting heavily roasted by a bunch of young men, I should say. And he spoke up and he said something. I had no idea who he was. And he was so positive and supportive about the message and what I was trying to do. And I was like, oh, who is this guy? And he genuinely did take the time out for people and try and educate people about stuff. And it's really sad reading the comments from people. It's really showing how dehumanized social media has become, where people are just making really generalized comments of not surprised and just removing the fact this guy was a human being that went through human being experiences, came out the other end of something really dark, and is trying to help heal other people and speak about healing. And all people do is just throw the negative at it. It's like, it's really sad. And I hope his legacy kind of stands in a little bit of a warning to younger boys and men who want to just go for the aesthetic of everything, and instead of just doing the work themselves. So, and it's just really sad. When that popped up, I was like, far out. I've never met the guy, but the fact he had inspired so many people to take up strength training, take up fitness, create a business, in the industry. Yeah, he was too young. What was he, 30?
He's 30, absolutely.
Yeah,
it was a bit of a shock. It was a bit of a shock to hear that news, for sure. For so many, I got a lot of DMs about it as well. And it shows, the positive impact that he did have, which I know so many of us, and all 3 of us want to leave, through what we do, a positive impact and help people through what we've lived through. And I hope one day that I'm going to share my story too, to help people. So Jackson, he was a steroid addicted to steroids. He was even jailed, I believe, or was caught by police or something. I'm not quite sure how that works. But I don't know if he served jail time. I think he might have. But he then turned his life to God. He found God in probably the darkest time for himself, which is beautiful that he had, that faith. And he turned his life around completely. But this guy, who did not know me, who did not know Nat, never met us in person, went out of his way to, I guess, share that positivity or to support us. And you felt supported by him too, like, to the fact that he's gone out and reached out to Nat, like, that's in a time when she was getting roasted by people, and then Jackson has stood up for her. He did the same thing for me. I got a random DM from him, and he was so positive, and then he was really encouraging, and he was saying, keep up the good work. I think it might have been at a time when something similar was happening with the SAS. And I think it was like, for me, that stuff, it doesn't matter. It's like, you're a good person. That's what matters. But it was something like that. Like, he reached out to me, and I'm really grateful to have those messages as you have his comments. We have those for life. We'll cherish his words forever. And it just speaks so much volumes of this guy that, he's done that for so many people. Like, who knows how many people he did that for?
Yeah.
I hope I can do something similar too.
It's almost like there's not enough positive. This is why I've been really mindful of what I share in my Instagram stories. It's like sharing just positive things, sharing positive moments that my clients have, like, that they have, what is called, not an apparition. What's the word? When you just have like an aha moment in your day where you're like, I have overcome this. Oh my God. And then they get it
Epiphany?
through epiphany. That's the word. They're just dropping epiphanies in their feedback because they're moving forward and they're having these realizations and they're moving away from negativity. And I feel like people like Jackson, who came from so much negativity and addiction, and people who come from addiction and beat addiction, some of the most resilient people on the planet. And then when they use their platform for good, which is what he was doing, like, not enough people do that. There's so much darkness on the internet, and yes, we need to acknowledge it, but we also need to spend time in some good energy, and we just don't do that. Don't do it enough.
I agree with that. And one thing which I hope to do one day, I'm just not ready to do it yet, but like, for me, I'm the same as you. Like, I'm always focusing on sharing the positives and all that, because I want that's all I want out of life, really, is to leave the world a better place. Once I've done that and I'm happy. But I do find that sometimes, like, I wish I could share where I've come from and my whole story, because I feel like, if people only see me sharing the positives, as an example for myself personally, but, if you're constantly sharing that, like, that positive stuff or all of that. And I've tried in recent times to be a bit more transparent about it all, but, like, it's it would be a shame for people to look at someone posting all this positive stuff and think, oh wow, like, that person has it so easy, that person has it so good, but they don't really understand everything else that person's trying so hard to get through and to overcome, because they're trying so hard to make everyone else feel better. But I hope everyone has the opportunity, as you said, like, exactly what you're doing, to share their friends' epiphanies, to do what Jackson's done and stand up for others when they're getting, when life is hard for them, to stand up for others. I think also something he's done, which is tricky, is, when people are, angry or whatever, is to then be the person who stands up for the other person. That's the best thing you could possibly do. What a great human being. Rest in peace. Incredible human being. I see, we can see the impact he's had through all these beautiful comments, and who gives a whatever about what these other people are saying, because he turned his life around. And at the end of the day, the people who know him knew him, and he knew himself, and that's all that really matters.
Yeah.
And it's like Matt and Dave, I give a lot of credit to as well, because when I did that first podcast a few years ago with you guys, I didn't have a lot of assurity within myself as a person. I knew what I wanted to do and knew where I wanted to go, but it's like I wasn't sure if I believed in myself enough because of what had happened to me. And the space that Dave and Matt held for me was that literally changed the, like, trajectory of everything of where I'm going now. So yeah. And it's having, and I know people say like men talk a lot of bad things about men. Having men like Matt and Dave in my life who just are like, go out there and win that. It doesn't matter about how you look. It doesn't matter what you weigh. It's about what you do that matters, and that message alignment, and that's why they're dope. Yeah.
Hey,
So thanks, Matt.
thank you. All right.
100% agree that you guys are
Never doing
great
triceps
examples
with you
of
ever
men.
again, though, just so you know.
Yeah, that's what good men and good people do. So well done, Matt. Yeah, and well done to Dave as well for that. That's beautiful to hear. That's good.
I'll clip this. I'll send this to Dave later as well. He'll appreciate it for sure.
Yeah.
But, no, it's great to have people with interesting stories and people who have overcome adversity and who have faced challenges and then, despite that, have pushed for success. And see that from both of you. You've both had difficult things you've had to work through, and you haven't let that stop you. In fact, it's almost driven you to the point where you're like, I know how much it sucks to be in the shit position, so I'm just going to give everything I've got to make sure that I win at everything that I do. And regardless as to the result, it's like it's that effort that you put in that gives you the experience, so that next time some adversity comes up, you're able to deal with it. And just the amount of challenges that you'd be facing daily that you just maybe years ago would have been devastating. You're like, oh yeah, I've dealt with that 100 times already today. I can do that. It's not a problem. So yeah, it's seeing people getting stronger and stronger and better and progressing and improving. That's one of my favorite things to see in the world.
It is, isn't it? It's beautiful to see that. Yeah. Thanks, Matt. Thanks for your kind words as well.
That's all right. There you go.
Well, good humans and good energy. I was just having my time on the couch watching fighting for the first time. Now I'm on a podcast. I don't know what my life is doing, but cool.
Oh, that's great. Well,
now, if you missed it, before we go, I'm just going to say, while I was setting this up and attempting to catch the boxing, I had my kettle start an electrical fire. And all I could think about was, I'm not letting this stop my boxing. And I was able to deal with that situation. The kettle's outside. I don't know if it started a fire there, but no.
That's about adversity and overcoming, Izzy. Jesus.
Adapt and overcome.
Adapt and overcome. Oh,
fantastic.
Guys.
All right, guys. Well, yes, we might wrap everything up. Yeah, you're going to train. No worries. Well, I'm going to go eat something, and I think
that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go eat something too.
Thanks everyone for coming on the show. Thank you to everyone in the chat, and we will see you next time.
Bye.